All right, alrighty. Let's see what we got going on. Ooh. Is it going fast? Is it going slow? Is it skipping? Is it clear? What's the T? My name is Diamond. I go live every Friday at 7.
Wait,
And
what?
I have
Maybe
some
the
stuff
revolution
that
will
I
not be
want
tele.
to talk about. And I am in Bangkok, Thailand right now. And I don't know if the internet is working efficiently, but y'all will tell me, I'm sure. Hey, Naira, how are you? Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I'm trying out some delicious snacks from all the places I've been. I'm going to do a little video about some of them. We miss you. Thank you for going live. Hey, Mario, how are you? Mm, the connection is good so far. Good. So I'm gonna jump right in because remember last time they cut it off, so I don't know how long it's gonna be. So do y'all know I show Speedy? I think he's a cute little boy. Him and um Kai Sanat, is that how you say it? Kai Kanat? I don't know what the little boy, he cut his dreads off recently. They're just cute little boys. I think they're so cute. They always, but I show Speedy. I don't watch them. I don't watch any of them because they're out of my um they're out of my age bracket. But also we don't. I don't. Yeah, I don't be knowing what they be talking about. They don't be talking about nothing I want to talk about. So I'm an old head, so I don't be just following the young people. But sometimes certain videos will come up, certain clips will go viral because they're really really popular. So I'll see them and I know their name and da 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 da. So recently, I show Speedy is, or either he's there now, or recently he's doing live streams going to Africa, and I've seen these kind of, I don't want to call them weird, but I'm in my brain I'm calling them weird, but they're not weird. They're just I just don't understand them from my anecdotal cultural perspective. So yeah, I feel like this lighting is weird over here. Let me cut this thing. Change this. Ah, okay. All right. Is that better? That feels like better. So the sexually charged moments. Um. Yeah, they always, especially I show Speedy. He always have some kind of homoerotic kind of videos that kind of go viral where he's showing getting his booty spanked or or exposing his junk because he done exposed his junk before. I think on accident first and then maybe not on accident another time. um I find him super super cute because he looks like what I like a I Speedy looks like a black anime character that has come to life. Like it's something about his features that look like a black anime character to me. I think that's one of the reasons why he's popular because he's silly and he looks like that. But so I've been seeing these videos of, and this isn't a critique of them expressing their feelings. I want this to be very, very clear. I am not critiquing them at all. I just have questions, if that makes sense. I have questions, I have thoughts, and I want to share the thoughts, and I want it to be very clear that I'm not critiquing them or saying that they're doing anything wrong for expressing their feelings, uh, any of that. I just have questions, and I'm having questions. I'm asking questions out of curiosity to understand other people's experiences of blackness. Okay? I'm not judging your experience of blackness. Um I'm not judging it. I'm not saying that it's not true. I'm not illegitimizing it. I am not doing any of that. I don't want you to add that connotation. I'm just asking questions so I can understand it because, like I said, I experience blackness in a certain way. I'm a black queer woman, so it's going to my blackness is going to be it's going to be different. My black experience is going to be different. Also, I'm grew up in the Midwest, just a little bit in the East Coast, just a little bit. And I'm very Southern coded because my family who raised me is Southern. So, and I've been living in the South for many, many years. Um, Most of my adult life, I have lived in the South, and so I consider myself a Southern Midwesterner. So I want y'all to listen to this video, and I'm going to talk about it because I want y'all to tell me y'all thoughts. So, like I said, I Speedy has been doing live streams while going to Africa, and certain people are having these reactions to him going to Africa. Guys, but oh, will it be live streamed? Amongst all the heaviness and turmoil that is happening domestically within the US right now, at least for the 92% that tried to warn y'all, we are actually, a good majority of us, getting some healing through one of the most unprecedented forms of media and one of the most unprecedented influencers, IShowSpeed. Little did we know that a camera and live streaming was actually going to give the Black community access to a viewpoint and a truth that has been buried away from us for decades on end. Wondering why I'm crying. I've been watching Speed streams, and I'm seeing all the love that he's getting in Angola, he's in South Africa, and he's getting this massive amount of love. And the way that he was treated in Europe was disgusting. But to see him be a Black man from the United States of African descent. Man, this whole time, bro, they made us think Africa was such a poor country, bro, such a place you wouldn't want to be at, bro. And Speed is single-handedly changing my perspective on life. Every single aspect of Africa just makes my insides feel so good, bro. The American dream is the trap. Everybody else is free, but not free from America. America's the problem, bro. Man. I also want to emphasize how powerful and how big of a deal this is just for the Black community in the US to see how civilized and how beautiful and how welcoming it is to see us being received in the homeland, in our homeland where our ancestors were taken away. And like, I know for a fact that the soul is being hit in a way, being able to just witness something like this. And this is going to open up the gates. It's going to plant seeds in people's heads that we can go back. We can actually go back and try to reconnect with our roots. Thank you so much, IShowSpeed, for doing this, for using your platform in such a powerful way, for advocating for the Black community, for teaching us and showing us the lies and the propaganda that has been forced upon us through our own nation and government. Like, this is incredible. This is powerful. And this is such a win for the Black community. Well done. So, like I said, I am not judging because I understand everybody is coming into perspectives from a different vantage point. It's similar to what I say in If you listen to Marsha's plate, and I haven't done it in a while, but there's a Trans 101 segment that I do, and I say in my introduction to the segment that I sometimes I forget that everybody isn't coming into transness and the experience of transness with the experience that I have. And so there are some things that I'm like, duh, when somebody says it, but you got to understand some people aren't coming your into in the moment that you're engaging with them, they might just be new to the concept because they've been sheltered or they've been da 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 da. Da. So I get it. So I understand that. I understand that. So I'm asking my questions because I'm trying to understand certain things. So I have lived all across this country, East Coast, Midwest, West Coast, South. I've lived for long periods of time in these areas. So, and I'm somebody who didn't really at all grow up around white people. I didn't grow up in anything predominantly white. And even when people think about Indiana, you think about kind of whiteness in Indiana. Yes, as a state, in yes, it's a lot of white motherfuckers. But I grew up in Indianapolis, which was for a very long time a spot on the Chitlin circuit in the early 1900s. And the reason why that was because of its high percentage of black people. So if you look at the percentage of black people in the South, it is way higher when you come to the demographics. Southern states have a higher percentage of black people in their state compared to all the other ones. The South has more black people, period. But if you look at states in the South, Texas, Georgia, Florida, the percentage of Black people is really high. Instead of being the average 13%, it's going to be in the 20s and the 30s, and even in Mississippi, it's in the 40s. Jackson, Mississippi is 80% Black, y'all. So when you think of the demographic of people there, so in Indianapolis, the percentage of Black people is in the high 20s, 26, 28, high. So where I lived in my city was predominantly Black. With a lot of Black ass history that from decades. In one of my stories, I talk about a church that I grew up in. That church was one of the first black owned like upper class country clubs. And so where black people, of course, bougie black people, kind of started it's just there's long old black money in most of the places that I live. Like even if you think about like Atlanta, there is old black money in Atlanta. There is, and I'm saying all of this because it gives me a different perspective of my blackness. Okay. And so I'm going to be exposed to certain things that maybe other people didn't get exposed to. But I have never been in a place in black community. And so this is where my question before I say that. So you don't have any woke people. And we not talk about this new age woke where they're demonizing woke. I'm talking about before this MAGA shit. When we said woke, woke was you are enlightened. You aren't just fooled by the education system. You're not fooled by the narrative of black people, narrative of Africa, narrative. You woke enough to know that, oh, I'm seeing beyond the veil. That some of the shit that they're saying on TV, some of the images that they're selling to us about black people and about Africa are not real. Like they're giving it images. They're making you think that all Africans are living in huts when their whole cities over there. Like there's an image that they try to sell to you. There's a wokeness, there's a awareness that you have. And so, I understand why some people don't have that wokeness, but in my brain, we were saying conscious before woke. See, woke and conscious were in my growing up were meant the same thing. Conscious people were woke. Like that's how we would say it in the 90s. Now I don't know what if you're older than me, but I don't know what was said before. But in the 90s, when I was coming up, my political consciousness was coming up. Woke and conscious meant the same exact thing. We would say the conscious people were woke. Um, but yeah, there are those people were all around. Were they everywhere? Were there everybody? No, but they were around to tip you, to make you curious. They were like you didn't have like, and all of them weren't. Some of them were problematic. So I'm not saying that they're great, but so your whole life you didn't come across somebody that gave you a clue, that gave you a tip off, like that might not be real. How they talking about Africans? How they talking about black people? Like nobody, there was nobody in your life that gave you a clue that there was nobody conscious, there was nobody woke, there was nobody giving out pamphlets, there weren't no Muslims, because even Muslim can give you, I ain't saying that they are fully they ain't problematic in some ways, but you ain't had no Muslim people around you say, baby, let me pull your coattail to something. You didn't have any of that. Like I've never been in a black community from Indianapolis, Chicago, Boston, Mississippi, San Diego, California, St. Louis, Texas, Georgia. When I go to these places, you got your stereotypical motherfuckers who ain't conscious, but there's somebody that is like trying to teach the people. So nobody, and I'm saying this to younger people. I'm curious, not I'm asking. So nobody around you was woke at all? Because being this emotionally invested in finding out something that seems so now, like it's almost like we're not going through the change. Do you see what I'm saying? Like it's almost similar. I guess it would be like feminists who fought in the 70s and here they are in 2025 and still have to march for abortion. I guess it's like that. Y'all don't remember that we fought this shit and even like black hair. We had this whole YouTube black hair movement in the early 2010s, late 2000s. We had this black hair movement, and I know there was some people like, y'all, we taught y'all all of this back in the 60s when we were having the afros, and we taught y'all that it's okay to love your hair. Now all of a sudden, did y'all forget everything? Like y'all, did your parents not teach you nothing? Did you did you did you forget all of this stuff? Like, are you not exposed to, like, why we gotta keep reinventing the wheel? Why do we in my brain, I'm like, how do y'all not know this? Like, how do y'all not know that Africans aren't living in huts in 2025? They're not living in huts. Like how and being emotionally invested in this, like, bitch, you crying? Like you ain't watch African YouTubers in this long. YouTube been out what, 20 years now? YouTube came out in 2006. It's 20 years. So you ain't been exposed to no kind of Africans? Like who live in regular lives? I can see if somebody who grew up in the 90s who didn't have the internet, I get it. But even them, then the woke people would tell you like they're not telling us the truth. But then you have people writing books about Africa in the 50s and the 60s when they were talking about apartheid and stuff. So nobody was around you telling you it. It just feels like it just feels like this frustrates me because like it feels like we're never gonna get anywhere. And this is about any consciousness, any consciousness around transness, consciousness around gays, consciousness around blacks. If we keep taking for granted how far we come in advance and not pass that education and that history, that's why context and history is really, really important. That's why they fucking trying to erase it, because when you know shit has happened, we've already fought for certain things, they can't undo them. I'm like, y'all making it seem like this nigga is exposing y'all. And I'm not saying that that couldn't be true. I'm just like so confused at how. I'm just so confused at how. Like, we went through a whole and it's just like the white people now. Did y'all read any of them books that we suggested in 2015, 16, 17, 18? Did y'all read any of them books? Did y'all read any? Did y'all take it in? Did y'all just listen and go to do the photo op at the protest? Or did you actually listen and learn something? Because we should certain things we shouldn't have to keep rolling out. We got to keep rolling out the 101 curriculum. And I say that about them, but I'm talking about this black shit too, this African shit. Like, it is Africa 101 that around the world they are giving an image of Africa that is not true. Like, that's Africa 101. Why are we still at 101 now? It's like you pulling out a floppy disk. That's what this felt like. Am I tripping? Like, it's like you still pulling out a floppy disk? We all the way over here. And you pulling out a floppy disk. Like, baby, we done moved past that. I'm not saying you need to know everything. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying and I'm curious. I'm trying to be curious. I'm trying to understand, how do you go through life and you don't run into any ideas that make you curious that maybe this image about Africa is not real. Maybe this image is not real. Maybe this image, and I'm saying the context of this conversation is Africa, but this can be about anything. If you still saying ignorant, dumbass shit about HIV, and we all the way almost at the end of the epidemic, now we having some setbacks with this Trump regime, but you still think motherfuckers don't have medication that can, and they're not, and they're undetectable, and they don't pass it. We're at the stage where the medication is so good that they're not passing HIV to people, even though they have it, because they're undetectable. If you're still talking like we're in the 90s about HIV, you are the problem. You're not trying to learn about the advancements. And so how can, it's more than just we need to educate the ignorant people. It's just miseducation. But are you trying? Are you trying to be educated? Like, are you trying? Because a simple Google search, and I'm not saying Google is a total, but it can, do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's gonna give you everything honest and I'm not saying that, but it's a start. Like, are you trying to get educated? HIV was boogeyman in the 90s. And if you're still scared of the boogeyman, and when you were a little kid and scared of the boogeyman of this in the shadows under your bed and shadows behind your door, I get it. But you 30 now. I don't think it's different, that much different. Africa was boogeyman for centuries. So I think that's my point. We can't baby these people. We can't baby these people. I'm tired of babying people. It's like, we have to be diligent and active about our miseducation. We have to be diligent and active about finding and about being curious about what we don't know. I'm not judging you for not knowing. What I'm asking you to do is I need you to be open and curious about what you don't know. A lot of motherfuckers be running their mouth like they are the end all education about things. I'm not doing that. If it's something that I'm curious about, I don't know, I'm going to say I don't know it, and then I'm gonna go and read 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 and read, and be open to what I read and the knowledge that I have. We have to be curious. And I have never been in a Black community since I was young that didn't have somebody who was counter the false narrative that would tip me off that this might not be real. From religion, from anti-blackness, from womanhood, like the you know, feminism, um anything, homophobia, any issue, any cultural issue, socio-political issue. There was somebody who, one person, there was some, everywhere I have been, there was somebody who was like, who would, it may not be some deep thing, but there would be somebody there that would be like, think about this though. What about this though? This is some other information that I got. This is another way to think about that. Y'all didn't have that at all about Africa? And I'm not talking about my family. I'm talking about out in the world. I ain't talking about my family. My mama didn't graduate from 10th grade. My mama wasn't the most educated woman. So she had some ignorant shit about her too. But I'm talking about out in the world. You didn't run across some Muslims. You didn't run across some 5%ers. You didn't run across some I don't know. Like my one of the strong political educators of my life is there's a group, they still around. They're called the ACT, Asante Children's Theater. They're an acting group. I'm saying 5%ers. I'm just saying somebody that thinks differently than the typical Christian white nationalist or white supremacy rooted politics. Um, Somebody who will give you a different perspective. And I'm not saying that it's always the right perspective. I'm just saying something counter to the narrative about Black people, counter to the narrative, a good conspiracy theory, uncle. Right. Yes, somebody. Nobody, because those little things, even if they're not fully right, because they can be patriarchal, those little things are what made me curious to go read some books. Like that's what made me curious to go find out some shit. It's what makes me curious about, I do remember a time where I thought Africans lived in huts. My brain, when I was a kid, my brain didn't, because all I saw was the spears and the loincloths and every time I seen them in a movie or seen, my brain in Africa was like they were fucking Zulu warriors with loincloths and fucking spears. That was what it was. But I was a kid. I didn't think about what the cities look like until I got into ACT, or no, it was before that. I'm trying to think of exactly what it was. Oh, my Muslim auntie, Tanya. and she was young. She was in her 20s, but she was a counter to the she was a counter to the Christian basic shit. So she was the one of the first people who I kind of met that was like different than, in regards to that. So I did think that everybody was in Africa was in huts and shit. But then when I got older and learned that no, every part Africa is so many different countries. Just like we got so many different states, and so many different countries. And when I learned that and started to understand that everybody is different, and there's some rural areas, just like some rural areas in where I knew my family was from fucking Walnut Grove, Mississippi, which was rural, but I had family who was in fucking Indianapolis and Chicago and the city, and how culturally they were just different. And there's some through lines of similarity too. And so I'm like, of course, Africa is like that. This is what they're trying to tell me. This is what my woke conscious elders is trying to tell me. So let me think about what is Lagos doing that the rural area of the herd, the tribe, the what the goat herders are doing. What's the difference between them? So I'm starting reading, I'm starting to look, and that's I'm like, but I don't know too many people unless they grew up in all white like places. I don't know too many people that didn't have that if you were connected to black community. Cause that's like a part of us. You get what I'm saying? Like, am I tripping about that? Is that unique to me? Like, a part of black community is somebody in your community that's woke. That's a staple part of the black community. Is am I tripping to think that? Like, I'm everybody not woke, but there is somebody that is. There's somebody that has been enlightened. There is somebody at the barbershop. There's somebody at the church. There's one person, at least. There's somebody on the street handing out pamphlets. It's going to be that Muslim man on the corner that's selling the oils with the bean pies, with the bow tie, that's going to give you something else. Is that not a part of black culture? And that just seems to be, if you in the rural area, you gonna have the hoodoo auntie up the road that other people might judge, but she there. We know she a part of the community. She there. Is that not who's gonna teach you about Yoruba? Who's gonna teach you about hoodoo? Who's gonna teach you about Santeria? Is that not in everybody's black culture? Like, is those type of people not in everybody's situation? Because I done been all around and they always are there. Or am I just paying attention to them? I'm really trying to be curious. Like, is that not a thing? Because I've been around. And I don't think I'm ignorant enough to think that every single person is this, but yeah, I'm like, I can see it being moving. Like, if you didn't want to, if you've never been to Africa, and he's like, oh, interesting. But I know you didn't think that they was living in huts still. Really? I know you didn't. And also, there's a flip side to this. I love black people, but I'm also not romanticizing our culture either. Yes, there's a community thing that can happen that's beautiful. And it can be beautiful, it can be love. But because of social economic situations, bitch, if you in certain neighborhoods, bitch, they will rob you. If you in certain situation, bitch, the community will get you together. And I feel like that about Africa. He is a celebrity person, internet celebrity person. They're gonna treat him a certain way when he going out there. Yo, tourist ass that ain't got no celebrity, they will rob you. Wow, and so let's not romanticize it either. I've been to Africa, I've been there, and in the situation I was there, the white people were getting jealous. And we talked about this on the episode when me and my friends went to Egypt together. But the white people were getting jealous that when we would come to different villages and come to different cities and come to different markets, they would call us cousins or family because we were the only black people in the group. And they were like, "Welcome home, cousins. Welcome home, family." Da da da. They keep calling us cousins and family. And the white people was like, "Why they don't call us cousins and family?" And da 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 da. Do you call us cousins and family, bitch? Do you think we're cousins and family? Anyway, do you call them cousin and family when they come to our country, your country? No. Anyway, but they were getting kind of jealous. So yeah, there was a beauty of them, like, trying to be friendly and being cool and embracing us. Yes, but there also was the hustlers that if, honey, if we slipped up one time with our purse, they taking it. Slipped up one time with our phone, they taking it. Cause bitch, you're an outsider and a tourist. We're trying to hustle and sell you this motherfucking dress that's not your size. We trying to hustle you. We gonna try to sell you this overpriced shit and get you together. Let's not romanticize Africa. We don't want to demonize and make them seem like they're not what they're not. But we don't want to seem like they're rose petals and gumdrops either, because they are not. Because the same images, this is another woke thing that you just learned. But I learned this not only but living in the world and engaging with Africans. You have the Africans who just like us have been given an image of Black Americans, and so they come with some biases, and they can be late to you. They can be tired. They can have some of the most ignorant stereotypes about you. They are affected, baby. They didn't watch Cosby Show. They don't. What other shit were they watching over there? Cosby shows, Jeffersons, all these kind of image of people. Oh, and Cops, Cosby Show and Cops. That's what the little girl said. All they showed us was Cops and Cosby Show when it comes to Black American, when they saw Black Americans. And so their image, and this is decades ago. This is 80s, 90s. So there's some images of us that they will have. And so when they come over here or when you go over there, there will be images. I remember I did a video years ago, y'all. This years ago with this white boy from Australia. Um, and he interviewed me. And before we got on, we were using Skype to record. And before we got on, you know how if you get interviewed by somebody on Zoom, you kind of talking before you start recording, like to give just basics rules or something. We were doing that, and when I got on camera, he started talking to me about, was it Bad Girls Club? He said I reminded him of the girls on Bad Girls Club. And I don't watch Bad Girls Club because they be fighting in ghetto on there. And so I was just a little bit offended. Like, what? And I was like, why did you say that? And he was like, because of how you talk. Like, you talk like the black girls I see on those shows. And I was like, And I couldn't get mad because I could understand why he has this perspective. And I was like, well, no, I'm not that. I don't have no problem with being black and I don't be trying to code switch. Um, so I'm okay with sounding how I sound. So in my brain, I had to accept that this is just the image that he got. So, but it made me shift in my brain, like, oh, so there are some people who, with this voice, with this vernacular, with how I talk, with me not code switching, because I try to be very, very intentional, even if I'm in academic spaces, even if I'm in, I don't know, whatever the most high class of spaces, I try to use the voice that I talk with. I intentionally try not to code switch at all because you should be listening to the content of my whatever I'm presenting to you. My vernacular and accent and diction, that's my culture. And if the meat and potatoes is right, then you should be able to accept that this is my voice, this is how I talk, this is the AAVE that I use, this is my language, this is who my cultural language is this is who I am. And so I'm not about to try to change it up for you, babe. So um yeah, and that's a political stance of mine. That's what I do intentionally. And so in that moment, I had to be like, oh, well, yeah, at first it was like jarring. Like, and this happens within 5 seconds of the conversation. So I'm not saying like, oh my God, it was months of me thinking about it. No. It just happened within, I want to say like 10 seconds. I was offended at first. Like you get the joke of shame and offendedness. I'm explaining my feelings. There's I remember feeling like I'm not a bad girls club black. What? I remember feeling like, what? How did you get that? Like all the old anti-black bullshit kind of shame kind of came up in me. Like the old shit. Like let me think of what I could do. Like the plastic looking hair, blue hair, the auntie hair, the hair that the lady was wearing that got recently got fired, the blonde and red hair that got fired from her nurse job for her hair being unprofessional. That kind of hair. There's a certain look of blackness that I had to grow up and appreciate. There's a certain hood level. I'm okay. I've always been okay with hood, but there's a certain type of hood that's like, ooh, that I had to learn to appreciate growing up because I also grew up in a churchy, very respectability, but not very, where churchy respectability politics was a thing. Like you be classy, um, there's a certain thing. And the counter to that was country. Like my family it was country and classy that when I was growing up, that was the what is it? That was the dichotomy. Is that the right word? Um where what was the initial? There were more dichotomies as I got older. But in my early days, I'm talking about birth to 10. In my early days, the dichotomy was country and classy. So country would be, why are you walking outside with no shoes on? That's country as hell. Put some shoes on. And we're talking about, I'm trying to give y'all an idea of my upbringing. So it was never a ghetto and classy. It was country and classy because I come from a southern country family. So eating chitlins, that was always that's some country shit that we don't do. Or eating country, it was country and classy that was always the battling cultural things. Does that make sense? It was country. You don't be outside eating watermelon in front of people. You don't be outside. And so remember, I was born in 81. So this is my first decade of life is the 80s from beginning to the end. So you don't be eating chicken out in public and watermelon. That's some especially watermelon. You don't be walking barefoot outside. That's country shit. Am I explaining that right? Like it's country. It's not ghetto. Ghetto started to come into play. What was considered ghetto started to come into play in my life in the 90s, in my teens, from 10 to 20. So in the 90s, that's when what ghetto is started to come. But in my early days, it was country because I had a very southern, most of my older family came from the South. My grandmother was born in Jackson, Mississippi. Everybody came from the South and moved. So culturally, like my grandmother having a garden and growing shit, that was country to the people around us. Your grandmother country, she growing garden, she growing shit in her yard. That was country shit that city folks, even though I was born in Indianapolis, culturally Southern, city people in my city was like, oh, my family don't do that. That's country. Your family country. Like, so it was a country versus city lifestyle in my first 10 years. Then when I'm getting from 10 to 20, when I'm, you know what I'm saying, growing up in my teens, and also this is the 90s. The gangster, hood, urban, hip hop world is exploding. Okay. So then now it's coming in what's ghetto. So girls like Miss Thing, Poetic Justice's friend, that kind of girl is ghetto. That kind of, if you got freeze curls, now mind you, this is all culturally relevant. If you got them, we would call them 27 pieces, but back in the day, they did it in a different way. Now it would be like a 27 piece. But you know them kind of auntie. Now it's auntie styles, but back in the day, it was young and youthful, having them little shortcuts, even the them little freeze curls. That was ghetto because white people weren't doing that. Anything that was then it started to be ghetto and classy instead of country and classy. So ghetto was all them different colors, all them stiff hairstyles. Yes, them stiff hairstyles that had no movement. Weaves, French rolls. Now, as a 40-something year old, now I appreciate all that. I loved it when I was younger because I'm trying to be a black girl. I never tried to be a white girl. I never wanted to be white. That never was something that came into because I had pro-black motherfuckers in my life. So I never had to conform to whiteness in that way, where I'd had a desire to be a white girl. That never really was that. It was considered edgy. So in the 90s, to me, what was considered edgy to me was that Marilyn Manson shit. If you was getting piercings and tattoos, that was edgy. If you were getting anything that looked like goth, growing up in the 90s was given edgy. Anything that looked like rock, like the fucking Nirvana, that was considered edgy in my brain. I don't consider the stuff that was considered ghetto edgy. I know that the white people might have considered it that, but in my brain, that just was black shit. It was black cultural shit for me. Um, Crinkles, yes, Crinkles. That was black. So it was ghetto. So because it was ghetto, I wanted to, in my younger years, I wanted to do something different. I didn't want to be ghetto. That was too far for me. I wanted to be whatever black that I'm trying to think of who, if we 90s icons. When we think of Jada Pinkett, when we think of Nia Long, Vivica Fox, that kind of black girl where it wasn't the ghetto kind. It was like a whatever that is. And of course it's informed by some whiteness, but it also is informed by some blackness too. Do you see what I'm saying? Like I wanted to be Nia Long in Love Jones. I wanted to be Vivica Fox in Independence Day. I want where you knew I'm a black girl, you know I'm a black girl, and you know I want to be a black girl, but there's a softness. Now, as I get older, I realize you were trying to be in a different world. Exactly. Um, but even in a different world, I also didn't want to be Cree Summers, that quirky, awkward black girl. I never resonated with her like that. That was somebody that I didn't want to be either. So that was because in my younger, unevolved mind, that was whitewashed. Not knowing that she's just a quirky black girl. But that's because in my younger mind, I'm thinking, oh, you that code switching shit was weird to me. That code switching shit was something that I thought of as a danger. Like if you were a white person that talked like that, and I have to say this because people love to make it seem like, oh, I've said this before many, many times, and I'm gonna say it again many, many times. When I say you acting white, it ain't about you talking proper. Because I grew up in a church where talking proper was a norm. You don't talk like they remember country and ghetto was the antithesis of the church shit. You wanted to be a good orator, you wanted to speak the English language properly. So I knew tons of black people who don't sound white that spoke English properly. So when I say you acting white or you talking white, it's not about using the English language properly. It is bitch, I hear you code switching. And we know what fucking code switching is, bitch. It ain't cuz I think, oh, all black people are ghetto and can't use the English language properly. No, bitch, I hear you code switching. I hear who you trying to placate to, ho. Now, is it consciously intentional for you because you grew up around all white people? Cool. I can understand that now. But if I know you didn't grow up around white people and you talk like that, bitch, I don't trust you. You a coon, bitch. And it ain't just about you using proper English. And I know, even in my younger years, I know a motherfucker that don't appreciate blackness. I know a motherfucker who when I say you acting white, I can tell that you only like what you like to be rebellious against black people because it's all the same shit. You ain't just liking something because it's like, oh, this is some quirky thing that you like. You like everything that these white boys like? Every single thing? No, you trying to be a fucking white boy. I can see you liking certain stuff. Oh, I like anime. Cool. But every single thing these white boys like, you fucking gravitating toward, and you want me to think that's not anti-blackness in you? Fuck out of here. No, I don't believe you. There should be some type of cultural nuance that happens that you should be, you know what I'm saying? There should be certain things that you like in the black community and certain things that you kind of go outside. Everybody's gonna have that nuance. But if you, every single choice, unique interest that you have is exactly similar to the white boys you want to be, that's anti-blackness in you, baby. That's just not you being different. That's not just being different. I don't believe that. And I clock it. And I don't trust niggas like that. Because I know some people who are different. There's some people who love being black, but they different. They gonna like some stuff that's blackness and fully like boom in the black culture. And they gonna like some stuff that's kind of off the beaten path. And I had to learn that when I was growing up, that there are some people who are quirky and nerdy and out the box, but they love being black. But I know the difference between a motherfucker who want to be white, who you different not because you are, your motivations for being different isn't just rooted in your interests. Like, ooh, I just so happen to gravitate this because I like it. Your interest is rooted in your anti-blackness. You are liking everything that the white people like because you don't want to be black and you want to be the different token black boy, different token black girl. And that doesn't always look like whiteness. Sometimes it looks like not white culture, but other cultures. If everything about you is trying to fuck with Japanese, anime, Tokyo, every single thing, I'm sorry, babe. Balloons, yay. I'm sorry, babe. I don't believe that you ain't got no anti-blackness in you. I'm sorry, I don't believe it. Every single thing, everything, every one of your interests, all your musical taste, all your artistic taste is rooted in somebody else's culture. Okay. Okay. I'm not, I don't believe you. So yeah, and I would pick up on that. And I knew that I don't need to trust no motherfucking like that. They will throw you under the bus for these white people. They will throw you under the bus. And I don't need, and you don't need to trust them. And when I was in school, when I was engaging with those type of people, I knew I couldn't trust these people. They will throw you under the bus. Happy New Year. There's a accentuation and constant connectivity that they try to make sure is prevalent that I hear outside of just proper English. Absolutely. You're totally right. It's more than just using proper English. I know tons of black people that want to be black that speak proper English. So you narrowing me calling you whitewash or me saying you acting white down to just using English is because you're ignorant and you don't respect our culture. And you think that it's about, oh, I'm just not speaking like a ghetto girl and using AAVE. No, bitch, that's not what it's about. It's a multitude of things about you that lets me know that you don't like being black. That wig, how you talk, what you into, how you treat other black people, what you think about other black people, it all is together. Going out of your way to sound like a Kardashian, that part. Bitch, you ain't never been in California your life and you sound like Kim Kardashian. Girl, what? And it's a choice. It's a choice. There's this Indian boy that I follow. I follow him because he grew up in the hood and he sounds like a black boy, but he's an Indian boy. And I love him. He's so sweet. He be making little funny videos. And and I was in the comments and he gets mad when people ask him, um, I don't want to say he gets mad, but they'll be in his comments with some ignorant shit. and he'll say, what did he say? He basically is saying, I'm a product of my surrounding. This is how I talk. I'm not going to talk like my parents because my parents grew up in India. I can speak their language, but I grew up in fucking Detroit. So I talk like and grew up around, and went to a black school. So I talk like black people. I'm a product. And while I understand that, I was in the comments and I said, there's some nuance to this though, too. That is a conscious choice that you made because you could have easily been just like the black people who grew up in the hood and chose to code switch and chose to sound like them people, the other people. You are choosing to adopt our vernacular. That is, it may not be conscious, but that is a choice because you could actually not choose to talk like us. You can choose to talk like Chad and Allison. Because I know some people who went to my hood at school in Indianapolis that didn't talk hood because they didn't choose to. They actively chose to not use AAVE. Black, white, all of them. But you, instead of you, and maybe your parents, weren't emphasizing that you shouldn't act like us. And you liked us because we dope and we fucking the culture creators. And he had no pressures to start code switching. Exactly. So maybe you had none of that stuff going on and you fucking embraced it. And it may not have been a conscious decision, but there are people who consciously make decision to not embrace that, even if they live and grow up and go to schools in the hood. And I think that that is an active, I think that that is an active choice. I think that is an active choice. I think, Cat Black. Let's talk about Cat Black. So I love Cat Black. Cat Black is one of my favorite YouTubers. I think she is brilliant. I think she's smart. And I learned so much from her because we live such a different Black life as two Black girls, two Black trans girls. We live such a different Black life. And she all the time will say, I grew up in conservative area of California where I had only access to white boys. I had only access to this. Now, so when she be talking about stuff, I'm just listening to her like so fascinated because we just have two very different perspectives about it, especially around usually only around like dating. Because in my brain, I'm like, she wouldn't say this, but I would say this, but this is a choice that you're making. It's because I, I'm not just like I gotta go if I'm trans and I gotta go find people who are queer and trans and gay and in the LGBT community. If I want to find them, I have even though I don't live around any of them. I live in an area where it's not big queer community. I have to go find them. I had to go find community because I wanted to find community. If you wanted to date Black boys, you would. You would find them. You're not just a slave and stuck to your surroundings, especially living in California. Like if you told me you live in rural Nebraska, ain't no transportation, ain't no I could run with it. But you live in California. I'm not saying that you didn't grow up in I'm not saying that you didn't grow up in conservative places and white boys was just available. I get it. But if you wanted to date Black boys, I think you could. You can find them. And I think that, she says there's a certain, which is this part, I think we agree on. Not agree on. It's not about agreeing. We're just sharing our experience. But the part that I don't mentally push back on her is when she says there's a lot of work and a lot of unpacking that we have to do with black men that I'm just not willing to do. When she said that, I'm like, yeah, it's way easier for me to go over here and find a white boy who can be free of all that bullshit. I get it. When she say that, I get it. I understand because it's a certain, it's a certain thing that you got to do. She was like, she recently said black men don't want to date trans women long term. I think that that is something that if you ask, I've watched white girls too. I've watched white girls who are complaining about finding men to date white trans girls. Now, do I see white trans girls that find partners? Yes. Do I see black trans girls that find partners? Yes. Black male partners. But all of us is complaining about men who don't want to, who will sleep with us but don't want to date us. All of us is complaining about that. And I don't know any, I don't know. There's not any, there's nobody creating that I know of yet that are creating studies around men who date us that is, that's a big enough pool for us to figure out the percentage if it's not. Now, can I assume that white girls, because of how privilege works, will a white man have more freedom to date a trans person? I think so. I don't know how I don't know how what's the ravine, what's the gap, what's the I don't know what's the gap between that. Like between a black man's freedom to date a trans woman and a white man's freedom. I don't know how far that gap is. Do I think there's a gap? Yes, but I don't know how far that gap is and what things affect it. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm always fascinated. So I say all of that because I'm always fascinated by her experience because I don't think she's lying at all. I think from her perspective, I think that she's telling the truth. But I just find it. I'm always like, I, I don't always believe that you are trying. um, because you don't have to. You can. Um, California is a different place. I think California is a very different place. Yeah, it's easy to say in theory, but can definitely be just environmental and anecdotal. Yes. I know from this is anecdotal. I know from my experience in California, I would never live there because the black boys do not, in general, like the black girls. They just don't. That's just the truth. They love the Latinas and the Asians and da 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 da. I'm not saying that all of them. I'm not saying all of them, but in general, I think that's something that you have to contend with, especially when you go to LA, when you go to, that's just what it is. And I'm a light-skinned black girl, and I think that colors another. There's an element of color there too. I'm not used to going into a black community and not being colorism not being a thing. That's just being real. We know how colorism works, and so when I go to the South, baby, I'm a long hair, thick red bone, and I get treated that way. But when I go to California, you feel the difference. So I can only imagine I can only imagine if I was a dark-skinned Black girl, how I would feel that difference. I also see the difference in size too in California. I can see the difference in size too. Cause honey, I'm a thick red bone. I am in Bangkok, Thailand. Mm. Yay! Can y'all see the city? It's so cute. um, um, so I know my thickness is not a problem in the South, but when you go to California, baby, you thick. I'm not saying that thick girls can't find nobody, but that you aren't as praised as you are in the South. You feel that nuance and that difference. Natural hair versus um I think skinny natural hair Black girls, baby, the white boys eat them up. And I think all of these nuances is real different. Is it I see it, I feel it, I know it exists because I know also my history as a sex worker, because I think that informs that's something that can give you some insight on desirability too. When I have thick my voluptuous thickness out in pictures in the South, phone ringing. That ad when I'm looking like a King magazine, a double XL magazine model, ass out, thick, soft, jiggly, da 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 da. When my pictures will give that, when my pictures will give unapologetically thick Black girl, niggas in the South is gonna eat me up. You cannot use those same pictures in California. You have to give biracial baddie in California if you're gonna get any kind of play in California in your ads. You gotta give skinny. You got the pictures that you choose gotta be the skinny girl picture, whatever ones that make you look the skinniest, and the ones that make you look the more biracial. So yeah, if you're gonna be give straight hair, curly hair, yeah, if you're gonna make some money and be a contender in the game, you gotta give off your biracial fish. You can't give off your hood, Magic City, Black girl, thick red bone. You can't get that because you ain't gonna make no money. Same thing in Miami. So Miami is the same way. You got to give your mixed biracial girl look. California, New York was a different kind of place because it depends on what kind of clients you want. So because New York culturally um is so mixed, if what the kind of clients you want to get is what you're gonna have to switch up to. So if you want to get the Bronx niggas, the Brooklyn niggas, the Jamaica Ave niggas coming to you, then yeah, you get at thick Black girl look. But if you want to get the other end of the perspective of men, then you give the kind of, you know, corporate baddie. And then it's gonna give you a different thing. I think New York was more, and I think Chicago was like that too. Matters and ad, right. I think Chicago was like that too. LA was not. I think that's the nuance of Chicago and New York. Is something about them that I could be whatever I wanted to be and get clients to come in. But LA and Houston, and I'm using these four because they're the four largest cities in America. LA, New York, LA, Chicago, Houston. Four largest cities. And so, top four. And so, New York and Chicago, you can kind of do what you want. In my experience, LA, you got to go towards the white people. You got to go towards the skinny, white, da da da, if you're going to make some money. Houston, you got to go towards Magic City. You be your thick, black, you be all the things that's right. And that's how I was able to make money. So, and it informed me on desirability. So I can only imagine Kat being in California. Yes, I think that I think it's two things happening. I think it's easier for her to find a white boy, but I also think that it validates her, the type of womanhood that she wants to be. And I think that I think both of those things are informing the options and what options she chooses. But yes, that's why we don't went all over the place. But I wanted to talk about that iSpeedy situation because, yeah, I just was curious about if am I tripping? Am I being anecdotal? Because every black culture that I've been in, there is some population of wokeness that taught me things about Africa, that taught me things about that opened my eyes up about the master narrative that Toni Morrison will call it. What's the master narrative and what's the real narrative? Like the double, when we think about W.E.B. Du Bois and that double consciousness that he talks about in is it Solo Ice? Not Solo Ice. That's Eldridge Cleaver. What was the one? What was it? It has souls in the title. I ain't read it in so long. Okay, Google. What's the W.E.B. Du Bois book that has soul in the title?
W.E.B. Du Bois's most famous book with soul in the title is The Souls of Black Folk, published in 1903.
Okay, yes.
This seminal work is a collection of essays that explores the African American.
Yes, I think it was. Yes, Souls of Black Folks. Thank you, Gold Noir. Yes. When we talk about double consciousness and we talk about when we talk about that like even non-academic motherfuckers, they will have the concept. That's another thing. There like it's almost like your mom being a feminist but not knowing that your grandma being a feminist but not knowing she's a feminist. Does it make sense? Like your mom might not know, your grandma or great grandma might not claim to be a feminist, but she is one. So, and you don't need to be an academic scholar to know what it is. You to be one. Let me give you a perfect example. So, if your grandmother, because we know that black women had to fucking work when after during Reconstruction, when we had to go out in the world, we wasn't like white women just sitting in the house being taken care of by our husband. Patriarchy didn't work for us like that. We had to work. We were making less money than black men, but black men was making less money than white men. And so black men needed our money economically. They needed our money to survive. So we had to be washerwomen's and seamstresses and maids and still clean up these white people's houses in order to make ends meet with our partner. So we've never been, it was a goal when black men started to have goals to mimic white patriarchy, to get a house, to do things where he is the sole provider. That was a goal, but that wasn't economically possible for a very long time because we were blocked out of certain things. Anyway, that conversation. When your grandma, not your mama, we a little old now, so our mama probably was, Gen X or young boomers. But if your grandma or great grandma was working at a factory doing the same exact work or working at a mill or working at some business with the men, and she was doing the same exact work from them, but she was getting paid less all because of her gender. Her brain said, this is not fair. I'm doing the same shit that they're doing. Why am I not being paid like they're doing? That is a feminist concept. You feel that as a woman, you should be making the same amount of money as a man despite your gender if you're doing the same exact work. That is a feminist concept. And so when your grandma would say, I think I should be, in her mind, would say, I think that I should be making the same amount. I should have equal rights. I should be able to vote. When the women got the right to vote in the 20s and Black women couldn't, they were in the lines. Ida B. Wells was in the lines and marching with the white suffragists. To feel like you should be equal, that's a feminist concept. Somebody said, I want a bank account. I want a bank account. Do you want a separate bank account from your husband? And you don't feel like you shouldn't be able to not be able to have access to it just because you're a woman? Do you feel like your husband, remember on one of my favorite movies, you remember on Dolores Claiborne? Do y'all remember watch that? Did y'all watch that movie? It's one of my favorites. By Stephen King. Dolores Claiborne, brilliantly acted by Kathy Bates. Remember when her husband went and stole all her money out of her account? Just because he was her husband? Do you feel like that was wrong? Yeah, she killed her husband, as she should have. Do you feel like that was wrong? If you feel like these are feminist concepts, you feel like you should have your own bank account. Your husband shouldn't be the ruler over all of your shit. You should be free to have your own stuff. Yes, it's called Dolores Claiborne. It's actually one of my favorite movies. Like, got to be, if not my top 5, top 10 at least. I love it. It was a Stephen King movie, but it's not a horror. Yes, right. She should have wore him out. So your mom, your grandma, they don't have to have these academic, they don't have to read all the books. They don't have to have read W.E.B. Du Bois or bell hooks or all the James Baldwin, all the stereotypical stuff, to have the theory, to have the mindset of a feminist, to have the mindset of a pro-Black motherfucker. They can have it, and you can hear them talking about it. They may not be educated enough to know that that's what they're expressing or they feel, because they haven't read the books, they haven't done this, they haven't done that. Do you see what I'm saying? But they have the theory. And it goes back to the Africa thing too, where yeah, I may not have been to Africa before I went to Africa, but I know how these white motherfuckers be lying. So I know they're not living in huts. I know how these white motherfuckers be lying about the hood. So what makes me think that they ain't lying about Africa? I know how the news will pick the most ghettoest motherfucker to pick the interview from, or pick the clips that's going to give them the more ratings. Why would I think they're not giving me this same imagery about Africa? Like that's critical thinking, and you don't need to be formally educated to have that. You may not have the language. It's kind of like, I knew I was trans before I knew the language of trans. I knew before I knew the theory of that. What was her name? Let me go to, not that one. before I knew the theory of Dora Richards or Virginia Prince particularly. Um, Virginia Prince is like the one, the concept that we talk about separating gender and sex. There's a difference between gender and sex. She's the first person to kind of theorize that formally, theorize that. So, because of those things, but before I knew who Virginia Prince was, I knew that's what I felt. I was like, there's a difference. I know that I was born a male child, but I don't feel like a boy. I knew that growing up. I didn't have the language for it. And I know when I hear them talking, they're conflating boy and male. I get it. I don't have the language, but I feel there's a difference between those two. And then when I became an adult woman, there's a difference between me saying I'm a woman and I'm a female. I don't think that I'm a female. I'm not. I don't ever use the language of transgender female. No, I never do that because I'm not a female at all. I am a woman. I'm a transgender woman. I'm a trans woman because woman and female are two different things to me. Are they connected? Absolutely. There are some connections that can be made, but I feel like I can be a woman. I just can't be a female. Does it make sense? And that theory, that concept, I knew that before I knew the academic language about it. Like I just didn't have the words, but I felt it. I knew what this meant to me and how it felt in my brain and in my body. I knew how it worked. I remember this like it was yesterday. My first world, my first feminist world analysis, like the world around me, how I something that I could see in my world that was oppression. I remember being in church and there was these girls, three sisters. They real famous in Indianapolis because their father is a dentist. They are the Scott sisters. Their father name is a famous dentist in Indianapolis called Leonard Scott, and they are the Scott sisters. They went to our church together, and there's three girls. There was one of the girls. She was the middle child. She was more like rough and tumble. Like she was more I can't remember exactly what book by Virginia Prince. Read them all. um um but she was more rough and tumble compared to her other sisters. I think the baby girl's name was Kathy, I think the baby girl. I don't know. I can't remember. I can't remember their name like that. Um um but the middle girl was rough and tumble. I remember this is literally ripped from the first chapter of my book. I remember being a baby gay, a baby boy, 7, 8, 9. And I would see there was this older boy named Leon. Leon, he used his masculinity was at perfect pitch. Like the men in the church loved him. Like the men, the women, everybody, how he performed his masculinity, what he did in the world was perfect pitch. Like he played football, he was masculine, he was beloved. He just was beloved by the church members. He would get special privileges. He would be able to sit in certain spots in the church. He would, if he go through the line downstairs in the kitchen, they would give him extra chicken. They would give him extra stuff. Like I will watch. I'm a little boy, so I'm watching him and seeing how they are responding to his how he performs his masculinity. Now, as a little boy, I'm not thinking of it as deeply. Oh, his daughters and granddaughters also became dentists. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what they did because we went culturally different ways, but probably I can see that. Um, um, but they're like middle class bougie family. I have seen them. They're like old money blacks. um, but anyway, Leon would like I didn't have the deep language. I, I didn't have a I didn't have the deep language that I have now and deep experience and da 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 as a 9-year-old boy. But I saw it. I saw how he because he was being a boy so perfectly, they loved him. And my comparison is how they were doing me because I was a feminine boy. They hated how I did. They hated it. Like it was something that got on their nerves. And so they're policing everything that I'm doing in church. And it's not just my family, it's everybody. Stop acting like a girl. Why put some bass in your voice? And they wouldn't call me the names that people were using, like faggot. They wouldn't call me that, but they would just say euphemisms like, oh, he got a little sugar in his tank. He a little soft and da 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 da. And I knew those words meant negative because they're making me sit a certain way. They're always policing how I'm doing things. So me comparing myself to Leon, I know that I'm not performing masculinity how he's doing it. That's getting him these masculine perks. I'm also I'm not being forced to go to church, okay? So I'm going to church because this is when I'm falling in love with church culture. I'm falling in love with church music. I'm falling in love with the hooting and the hollering, this church culture. I went to apostolic and a Kojic church. I went to both of them. Um, I'm falling in love with sanctified. I'm falling in love with the shouting and all the things that goes along with church. I'm falling in love with it as a kid. And so I'm living, but I don't have to go. My mother is not church at all. So for her, if you don't want to go, you ain't gotta go. So who I'm going with is my aunt. So I want y'all to give that context. So I'm falling in love with it. So I'm watching how he is being treated. But it's not a jealousy in me. Like I'm not like wanting to be him. I'm just observing it because I don't want to be him. I want him. Leon is fine. I want to. He's my first crush when I'm in person. That I'm like, oh my god, he's so cute. I'm not looking at him as a possibility model. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm not looking at him like a ooh, I want to be him, I want to mimic him. I'm looking at him like, oh, a cartoon heart eyes. Doo, 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 doo. I'm looking at him like Babs Bunny looks at who she loved. Do, 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 do. I want to sit next to him in church. The reason why I'm paying attention where he gets to sit is because I want to sit next to him because he cute. So I'm thinking of him. I'm not looking at him like he's a possibility model, but I'm seeing how people are treating him and how people are treating me. Flip. Now go over to the Scott sisters. So the middle one, if she was secretly a lesbian, I would believe it because she was the more rough and tumble one. She wants to be out there playing football with the boys. Now, because she grew up in this church middle class, upper middle class culture, I can see her maybe not being pressured not to go down that road. But when we were kids, she was given just as masculine as I was given feminine. So I was like, But she would be out one day, she was out there playing with us, the boys, playing kickball. Is she Lena? No, I don't know. I don't remember. I thought her name starts with an S. She's just the middle-aged one. I think the young one name was Kathy. I can't remember the oldest one name, but it was three of them. And I think she's definitely the one I'm talking about is the middle one. Brown skin. The other two was kind of she was the darkest of the three. The young they weren't too far from each other, but she was the darkest of the three. The other two you would say she the middle one was brown, but the younger and the older one they like light caramel. Not too far from each other, but she was the more brown of the two, of the three. Anyway, I remember her coming outside and playing them with us because we having fucking fun. We having fun playing kickball. And her mother came out there and went off on her about getting dirty and being in a dress and and everything she was talking about is ladies don't do this, girls don't do this. You always out here, you gotta be a lady. You gotta, it was the total, I saw the hierarchy immediately. So he gets to be free. Leon gets to be more free than me, and I get to be more free than her. Because nobody was saying to me that I needed to be more refined and ladylike. They wanted me to be out here, even when I didn't want to be. And then she had to be sitting down with her legs crossed, worrying about being clean in her church clothes. That wasn't the case for me or Leon. So I noticed the nuance of how they treated him, how they treated me, and how they treated her, and how they treated the other girl who was more refined, her other sister who was more refined than her. So they treated her differently than the more refined femme sister. She was being treated like Leon. Me and her was in the nuance area where the older, I think it's the older sister. Kathy was just a bad little girl. She was young. She was a young little girl. She was like 5. But the older sister was more refined, more girly, more. You feel what I'm saying? She was more. So she was the opposite of Leon and older than us, but she was treated like royalty in the church. So just like he was. So it was she got to go and sit where she wanted to sit. She got the perk. She got just treated well by the men and the women. So it was like this curve. The girly girl was treated better. The boy, the manly man, not the boy, the manly man. Well, he wasn't a man yet, but we all was kids. He was like 16, 17, 18. I went to that church for a while. So he was an older teenage boy and she was a teenage girl. And we were all kids. We were like, I was 9 and I think the other girl was 8. But yeah, we just wanted to play. Like somebody just said, we just wanted to play kickball. Yes. We just wanted to play. And but I could see the difference in how it was getting treated and what would be punishable and what would not be punishable. And I literally this is my first introduction to the theory of a feminist content. I didn't have the language of calling it feminist, but I knew that girls were being treated different than boys and femme and masculine was being treated differently. And there was a hierarchy of how you got treated, how what all of these things about feminine masculinity, all of these things about girlhood and boyhood, and all of that. And so for me, in my brain, I didn't have the language, but I knew that this wasn't fair. I had the language of fairness. I knew what fair meant and what unfair meant. So I was like, oh, this is not fair. It's not fair to me how I'm being treated in regards to him. And it's not fair to her in how she's being treated in regards to her. Do you see what I'm saying? Like I knew that this was unfair. I just didn't have the formal concept of what feminism was or oppression because I'm 9. But this is when I know that this is unfair. So yes. So and these are things that is that I don't think that that's unique to me. I don't think that that is, which is why going back to the Africa conversation, which is I feel like everybody at some points have a aha moment about certain things. Now I don't think they may have an aha moment about everything, but like even race, there comes a time when you realize this is racist, or does it, and maybe I'm tripping. Do not every Black person have a moment where you like, oh, I'm being treated like this because I'm Black? Do you know? I thought we all had that experience. There has to be not has to be, I'm sorry, that's the wrong language. There usually is a point in your life where you realize that racism exists. And you may not have all the deep theory language about it, but you know, oh, I'm being treated like this because you're racist. Or I'm being treated unfairly like this because of my Blackness. Like, do we not all have that experience? Is that too blanketed of a statement to say? I feel like that is a part of Blackness. Like it just feels like there's something happens in your childhood where, oh, this is racist. Like it's something like I'm being treated. One of my core memories, racial memories, was me coming to my friend's house and my white friend's house and them telling me that I couldn't. It was a group of us, all boys, riding our bikes, and we had to stop at one of our, and it was a group of all kind of races. I don't want to say all kind of races, Black and white, and I think it was Black and white. It wasn't no other people. Black and white. But it was a group of us, like 6. And we rode our bikes to our white friend's house, and the point of us riding to his house is so we can get something to drink because we all was thirsty. And when we got to his house, he didn't let the Black boys in, and he told us, because my parents don't let Black people in there in our house, so we're gonna go in and bring it out to you, like bring the we was getting sodas, pops, or what do y'all call it? Do y'all call it in y'all area sodas, pops, cold drinks, as the New Orleans people say? I kind of switch between sodas and pops because I grew up in the Midwest and the East Coast in Boston. So we sodas and pops. Sometimes I say pops, sometimes I say sodas. Anyway, but the white boys got off their bikes, went in the house, brought out all the cans for all of us to drink, and we all sat on the curb and drank our pops and cracked our pops and drank it. But I sat on the curb thinking, they didn't let us in the house because we Black. What? Like it was like, what? Like it was crazy, but I didn't know to be angry about it. Do you see what I'm saying? Because we're kids and they're not, this such a part of their life that they're not acting like it's negative. They were like, oh, we gonna go in and bring it out to you. We gonna carry it out because my mama don't allow Black people in the house. That literally what he said. And then came out with the drinks, and we all sat on the curb, got our drinks, and then got on the bikes and start riding them again. So it was crazy. It was wild. But I remember that. That's a core memory that I had. So Pop in Detroit from Soda, my SDL fam. Yeah, Soda. Right, they're part of our childhood innocence was stolen. Yeah. I had the same experience in Tennessee as a kid. Never understood until this president. That's wild. I was in an art class in elementary school, and we were learning about how to paint skin. This stank little girl who didn't like me raised her hand and said, "But she's black." My teacher tore her ass up. Um, yeah, it's a couple of experiences. I'm trying to think of other ones. Okay, I also this is another thing that I had to learn. Like I had, I'm sharing with y'all because the theme of the conversation. Um, I had to learn that my mindset around homophobia being worse in the black community is not true. I had to learn. I used to be the kind of queer black who would say I had more problems with black men than I did with white boys. Bitch, of course you did. You wasn't around white boys like that. Some, but you were more around black boys. So your proximity to blackness, of course you're gonna have more problems with these niggas. But when I was younger, I'm thinking, oh, a white boy. I got called more faggots than I ever got called nigger because I wasn't around white people like that to be exposed to their racism. It wasn't that it didn't exist. I was more like I just talked about earlier. I wasn't in spaces that weren't not predominantly black. So of course my trauma is gonna come from black people. So if I'm saying, oh, I've had more problems with white people, of course you did, because you weren't around white people. So what the fuck are you talking about? And that goes back to the analogy I always give. I was like, yo, this shark, if you're a little fish getting chased by the shark of homophobia, da 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 da, and you're getting chased and it's trying to eat you, your brain is saying, "Oh my God, this shark is the worst danger." Yes, this shark is the worst danger. He's trying to eat you. Da 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 da. But racism is the polluted water all around both of y'all that's getting both of y'all together. It's slowly killing both of y'all. Now, this shark, this homophobic shark, aka the homophobic black man, black boy, or black girl, or cisgender straight motherfucker, this feels like the imminent danger because this is always in your face. But that racism that forced you in the ghetto, that polluted water that both of y'all are in, that is affecting both of y'all. Now, from your perspective, this big old shark feels like the worst part of your danger because it is, because he's trying to eat you. He's not slowly getting you together like the polluted water that racism in that's getting both of y'all together. And yes, I need to address this big shark and get away from it and stop it and da 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 da. But racism is the polluted water that's giving all of y'all cancer, that's giving all of y'all something or whatever. That's the analogy I use. So yes, this is the immediate danger and feels like the more pressing issue, but the racism is still all around and still ongoing. The reason why we don't have education about queerness and da 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 and textbooks that give a better idea of queerness is because racism, because our taxes didn't fund this school that we're going to. Do you see what I'm saying? So we had to go get education from ACT, the group that I was in when I was younger. That they had the books that I needed to get me woke. I ain't gonna learn that at school. I had to read Eric Jerome Dickey. What is that his name? No, not Eric Jerome Dickey. What's his name? What's the gay author? I had to read Elin Harris and is it Jerome Dickey? What's the gay author, y'all? Y'all smart, y'all know. What's the gay author from the 90s? Is it Jerome Dickey or Eric Jerome Dickey? I know Elin Harris. Um he was in that. It was basically the black Terry McMillan. Um what's his name? Eric Jerome Dickey. Yes, that's his name. Eric Jerome Dickey. Yes. Eric Jerome Dickey is an American author. He died. I don't know what they're talking about with this. So one of the popular authors growing up, he died in 2021. Popular authors growing up was Eric Jerome Dickey. He had a lot. He wrote some queer characters. Um, Elin Harris. Think like Sister Soldier, Coldest Winter Ever, books like that were popular in the black community. There were some books that were popular in the queer community. Elin Harris. I had to read those books to get introduced to like queer culture. Um, yeah, it just was. It's. I could. You weren't gonna get it from school, and one of the reasons why you weren't gonna get it from school is because some of the teachers, they wouldn't. They're not gonna expose you to those things, and some of that is because of the pay gap. Some of that is of our teachers, the funding of our schools in urban communities, and so that racism that affects that funding, that affects where you live, that affects the school you can go to, that if before, especially before they start doing the magnet programs and shipping you out to different districts from the hood, the school, remember, even that, the races, especially if you in the Boston area, there was a whole thing, but this was happening everywhere. Um, the school bus thing where the parents was fucking protesting shipping black students to their school to get a better quality education. It's crazy. Um, have y'all seen the documentary? It's a documentary about the Boston school bus. I don't know if it's a boycott, not a boycott, but it's just basically integration. And it wasn't during the 60s. It was another time. I think it was like 70s or 80s. And they were just talking about how the school board was voting to bus some black students to some of the white schools to give them a better education. And baby, the white racist Bostonian parents were fucking turning over buses and protesting, and they were like racist. It's crazy. Um, and they would act like private school in America boomed after buses. Yes, private schools boomed. Yes, because they're fucking racist. Um, and they will act like none of this happened. Nobody will be the racist that was doing this kind of stuff. They'll be acting like they were for. I remember I saw this video of one of the Little Rock Nine kids, one of the nine, their grandchildren, one of their grandchildren. They did a video and was like, "Yo," they will act like they weren't the ones. She was like, every 10 years during the anniversary, our family is invited to be a part of these kind of anniversary of the Little Rock Nine, invited back to Little Rock, and they want us to participate in the anniversary events. And everybody, she was like, everybody will act like they were for it, they weren't against it. All of a sudden, all the races are gone and don't exist. Nobody was against it. Oh, we were down for it. I voted for it. I voted. Well, where are the people who voted against it? They don't exist no more. Okay. Um. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I always had, and I had to learn, and I said all of that to say, I had to learn the nuance of my experience and get past my perspective. Yes, have my bullies been mostly black men and women? Yes. In school, was it mostly black dudes who were calling me gay, faggots, and yes, absolutely. But that don't mean that if I went to a white school, they wouldn't have been doing that. They wouldn't have been doing it too. Because when I went to a white school for about a month, they were. I end up being one of them kids that got shipped to the white townships in my city. Went to Perry Township in Indianapolis, and baby, they had so much. Two things that I learned from that experience is that these white kids, these white boys and white girls are just as late and tired, except they white. They just as late. They gonna call you faggots. They gonna be bougie. They gonna be late. They gonna be tired. It was a class difference too, because in the black schools there really wasn't a class difference. We was kind of all hood kids, so it would just be kind of faggot, faggot, faggot. But there was a class difference. Even there were poor white people and poor and rich white people in these schools, and you can tell that there was a class clash. And bitch, they had this is the first school that I seen that the cafeteria had fast food. Like they had a Kentucky Fried Chicken and a Pizza Hut in the school. Like at my black school, we didn't have none of that shit. They had a Taco Bell, Kentucky Fried Chicken, and a Pizza Hut. So when you would get your lunch money card, you could get that shit. You could get like fast food and or different stuff. Like they had a salad bar at the school. Who has a salad bar at a school? Like their cafeteria was like, what? Wow. It was a salad bar. It was tons of vending machines. Like they just had it looked like a fancy college cafeteria. So I learned that, but I also learned that they're gonna call you faggots too. They're gonna be just as homophobic. And yes, I've heard about white people. People love to act like white people can be gay. I done heard white people get kicked out of the house for being gay. I've heard white people get disowned by their parents for being any kind of queer, trans, gay, da da da, making it seem like the white people can just be free and the black people can't. That's a lie. Because when I was growing up, my homegirl, I talked about her recently. My homegirl Starbella, her mom let her transition. I don't think if my mom was not on drugs, she would have let me transition just freely. But I was in a group home, so I could just transition. But I don't think she would have disowned me. I think that there would have been some more resistance, but I don't think she would have disowned me. I don't think that would have been her thing. But my homegirl, there's a bunch of black parents who accepted their kids growing up that was queer. They didn't kick them out. And there's a nuance of I'm not gonna kick you out of my house, but I ain't gonna accept this shit. Do you see what I'm saying? There was a lot of black people I knew who was like that. So I didn't have the experience that said black people was just abandoning their kids. I didn't really have that experience. Were they late and not accepting? Sure. But kicking them out, that was very rare. I saw it, but it wasn't like common. It was very much, yeah, you in my house, but you ain't gonna be dressing like no damn girl. I ain't kicking you out. You're not forced to get out, but you ain't gonna be dressing like no girl in my house. Or you ain't gonna bring that gay shit in my house. You change your clothes and you can come and sleep and eat and do all the normal stuff, but you ain't gonna be in here doing all that gay shit. You can't bring no mans to my house. All that kind of, it was more like that. Where I saw homeless gay white kids homeless because their parents said, "Oh, you gay, get out. You can't be gay in here at all." Not saying that black people didn't do that. I'm sure there was some, but I didn't really experience that. Make sure y'all thumbs up if y'all watching. I didn't really experience much of a difference when I, in my anecdotal experience, much of a difference. I've seen some accepting straight parents, and I've seen some non-accepting on both sides of the racial aisle. It wasn't really but as I grew up, I would have believed that it would have been different. When I was growing up, I would have believed that it would have been different. It would have the look would have been um the experience would have been different for white boys because I thought that black people are more homophobic than white people. That's just not true. I'm just engulfed in black culture, so my perspective was black was worse. Because usually when you see queer kids on TV, they white. So you're like, oh, the white people are free. That could never be us. But that wasn't true. Usually parents that kick kids out are a bit off or something is wrong with them. Parenting never seemed normal in black communities, not like media portrays. In my anecdotal, I seen only black trans kids, but that was only in Tampa and Miami. I think the non-black ones were elsewhere. Hmm. Hey, good evening. Where in the world are you? I am in Bangkok, Thailand. This is my last day here. I fly out tomorrow. I had an issue last night with these motherfuckers. They were trying to hustle me, but I said, bitch, fuck you. So I was kind of nervous. I thought the police would be knocking at my door. Let me tell y'all what happened. So last night I get all dressed up and cute to go to the gay bar. Like I wanted to go to the drag bar. Um because I'm here in Thailand and I'm going to do a deeper dive in this when I get home because this is Thailand, Bangkok. This is the trans. I don't want to say paradise because I can't I don't know the nuances of the trans experiences here. But when I tell you the lady boys are lady boying, like there is trans. This is a trans heavy city. There is the stereotype of men coming to Thailand to come into Bangkok for lady boys. The reason why that is, there's a reason. You cannot go anywhere without seeing trans women. You cannot go anywhere. Like it is I'm gonna say paradise just because that's the language I have now. I don't live here. I'm not from here, so it might be some negative shit too. But you cannot go out the door without seeing trans women. They are flourishing. They are out here free. Nobody is bothering them. It's so many that it's nothing. Like it's nothing. It's nothing. I want it to be very clear. I have never been to a place like this. It's nothing. Seeing a trans woman, beautiful, passable, clockable, nobody is responding to it because it's so prevalent. Nobody is responding to it. You see them walking down the street, nobody is looking at them like, oh, that's a trans woman. There is nothing. Nobody is responding because it's nothing. It's so common. It's so right. It's so ordinary there. It's so ordinary that trans women are so common that it's just it's a 50-50 chance that this is gonna be, if she a bad bitch. This man was in the lobby talking about it and he was like, they were all discussing it. He was like, if she's a 8 to 10 in regards to her rating, it is a high likelihood that is a trans woman. That's a lady boy. If she's an 8 to 10. If she's a 6 to 8, you got a 50-50 chance that she's a lady boy or cis woman. If she's a 4 to 6, you gotta, more than likely it's gonna be a cis woman. If she's anything below that, she's probably gonna be a cis woman. That is what he said. And everybody cackled, but all of the men in the space agreed. If she looked like something, she probably a lady boy. That's just what it is. And these bitches is bad. There's some clocky ones. There's some clocky ones, but even them, they looking right. But also, you got the Asian. Even the boys be looking like girls. They small, they short, they skinny. You know, they be looking, you know. So, yeah. It has been very eye-opening. And if you want to go somewhere that it is nothing, child, it is here. Now, let me give some nuance. I don't know about what's going on with here in the sense of every single detail, but what I do know is they all is hoeing. They all is hustling. I see them on the corners. Every street is a whole stroll. They're literally standing there, and the men are walking up to them and saying, "Hey," and trying to. It is everybody is hoeing. Like, I'm the hotel I'm at, and I'm in a nice hotel. I come out of my room to go downstairs to eat breakfast, and it is a lady boy in the middle of the hallway with a robe on in a bikini, and she is guiding her paraplegic in a wheelchair client to the elevator. And it's his room, it's not her room. And so she wraps herself up in her little robe and it looks like a sickening dress. And they go down to the lobby and he walks her out and rolls his ass back up to the room. I don't know if I recorded it. Let me see if I recorded it. I'm still gonna tell y'all the story, y'all. Oh, the spirit of the meat packing did just descend upon Thailand. I almost feel like this is older than that. But yes, basically. There is a oh, I didn't record it. Okay, I didn't record it. But when I went to the gay area, it is groups of women, trans women, just sitting in front of like their massage parlors, just sitting in chairs in front of them with their legs crossed like this, like groups of them just sitting there trying to pick up men. And I don't think I don't want to say it's legal, but it's so prevalent that nobody is policing it. Um, like this is trans whole capital. But it's so many. I'm like, how y'all make money? It's so many that you can just walk out the street, and it's if you looking for one, you found it. It's like, oh my god, it's wild. It's I've never experienced anything like this. This is wild. This is wild. It's wild. Anyway, so let me tell y'all the negative that happened. So I'm trying to go to the gay club and kiki and see just to experience it and see what it's like and have fun and do what it do. So the apps here, very oversaturated. Yes. So their version of Uber is called Grab. So I've been using Grab all day, baby. When I tell y'all I done got some pieces, let me show y'all. Let me show y'all my code. It's right here. Look at this. This coat is everything. This is a bright canary peacoat. Oh, so luxurious, girl. Look at her. Oh, mm. So it is wool. It is so fire. I love her. So I have found some things. I'm gonna do a whole little video on some of the things that I found. But she is my sickening. Oh. So I've been using Grab to get to all of like the thrift stores, consignment shops. I've been, I'm tipping through finding my things because I like things. That's what I travel to do. I travel to learn about the queer community. Also got an interview coming from a trans man, Vietnamese trans man that I met in Da Nang. And so anyway, that's what I do. I come and see what the queer community is doing, see what the shopping is doing, all that kind of stuff. So tonight, last night, because it's Friday, I'm like, well, let me go to the gay club and get dressed up and go and see what the tea is. Bitch. So I use the Grab app, which is their Uber, and I get into the car and we're driving and this is a big ass city. I want y'all to understand that. This is a big ass city. Big. So it takes you a while to get to places. So even though it looked like it doesn't, but because the traffic is always on 10 everywhere, um, it takes a while to get to places, even if it looks like it's close. I love Da Nang. If I move somewhere, it's gonna be Da Nang. Yeah, Da Nang. If I move somewhere in this area, it's gonna be Da Nang. I love Da Nang. Love it. Um, so I get in the car and we getting close to the club. And so he pulls up in the area. And remember, there's a language barrier. So usually when you get in the car, they can say hi, they can confirm that this is the ride for you, but that you can't have full-on conversations because they don't speak English. Especially, and remember, this is now at the hotels and shit. Yes, they're going to speak English and you can have conversations with them. But the drivers, a lot of them, they're working class, so they're not gonna speak English, and so they can't have full-on conversation with you. Or they'll do the thing where you speak into Google and translate it back to you and you can read and y'all go back and forth like that. Um anyway, so he pulls up to the curb. Now, like British people, they drive on the left-hand side of the road, not the right-hand side like America. They drive on the left-hand side. So he pulls up to the curb. So my passenger seat side is the one closest to the curb. So when he pulls up, it is me, bikes, and the curb. There's not much room. Like I'm by the curb. So bam, it's not much space right there. So boom. So when he pulls up, he was like, all right, get out, make sure you be careful, and you know, hey, have a good night, basically. So I try to open the door, but he's still moving. So he scoots up to another place. Like he scoots up. So I'm like, okay. So I don't open the door so I try to open the door and I open it a little bit, just like a crack. But he starts moving. So I kind of close the door back because I'm like, oh, are you going to actually stop for me to get out? Like in my brain, I'm like, you not stop. He stopped and then start moving again to get further down the street. So I'm like, okay. And he was like, be careful. Be careful when you open the door. I say, sure. I'm actually paying attention to what's going on. So he was like, okay. So I'm sitting waiting. And then he says, okay, you can get out. And I was like, oh, I'm paying attention. I don't see nobody coming. So cool. Because we right by the curb. So I'm not thinking that there's nothing going on that would make me think something is about to happen. So that's what it is. I open the door and one of them fucking scooters zooms and runs into the door. Because they got a bunch of them damn scooter things that these motherfuckers ride into. So while I'm looking, I don't see anybody coming. And we're by the curb. You shouldn't even be on this side of the car. You should be in the street on the right side of the car. We're by the car. You should not be zooming past this side of the car. So she runs into the car and falls down on the street. And so I'm like, I'm still holding the door. And I'm like, are you okay? She's okay. She gets up. The driver gets out of the car and gets up. This guy comes. He's driving in Cambodia, they call them tuk-tuks. They're like a motor car that got like a covered 2-seat thing in the back. So you sit in the back and the motor car drives you. He's driving the motor car, but it's hard to explain it. It's like a motor car too that has an attachment, like a carrier attachment on it. Let me find a picture so I can show y'all what it looked like. What does a tuk-tuk look like in Cambodia? Yeah, they say it's a motorcycle, but it has like a carrier on it. So yes, this is a tuk-tuk. So it's a motorcycle, but he's sitting right there, and the two people you get in the back. It only fits 2 people. So you get in the back and he drives you to the other place and it's like covered. So this guy in a tuk-tuk, he was parked ahead. So when she falls down, my driver gets out, I get out, the dude in a tuk-tuk come over and I see him start talking to her. Now I don't speak Thai, so they're speaking in another language, but I know a hustle when a hustle is happening because I'm a hood bitch. So while the language is different, the body language is still the same. Because I'm American, they start trying to do this hustle to get $1,000 out of me to pay her for this accident. Now, mind you, there's no damage to his door. There's no damage to her car. She gets up and in her physical body, she says, don't worry about it to the dude and gets up and picks her car up and gets back on her motorcycle, gets back on her motorcycle. But the dude in the tuk-tuk tries to come over. And what I can tell that he's doing without even knowing the language, he's trying to convince her that you're missing out on some money because if you tell her that y'all owe her, she owes y'all some money, she's an American, you can try to get that money out of her. And she initially said, it's okay, don't worry about it, and was gonna get on her car to leave. But then the driver started to get in on the action with the man, and he started rubbing his little door. And I'm like, sweetie, that damage didn't happen from that car because she didn't even hit that side of the door. And these are spots that don't have nothing to do with that. And I took a picture. Let me show y'all. So this right, he's talking about this thing right here and that thing right there. Baby, that wasn't done by her car. That was already done when I got in the motherfucking car. So, and then this is her bicycle standing up. I made sure I got their stuff. So they thought that I'm stupid. Sex work is legal in Thailand. They even have healthcare. They can call the cops if a client gets stupid. Oh, sickening. And it's I can tell. But anyway, they thought that they were gonna hustle me out of $1,000 to pay them for the damages. And so I'm sitting there, I'm like, sweetie, first I was like, are you okay? I'm worrying about concern. But once she got up and she was like, oh, don't worry about it. I can hear her trying to get up and go on about her business. But I see the dude in the tuk-tuk and how they're working to convince her to stay and try to get some money out of me. Baby, I look at him and said, nigga, once he came out of his mouth, because he can't speak English well, but he's like, you're gonna have to pay me $1,000. What? I ain't paying you shit. You got me fucked up. You told me to get out the car, and you told me, and you put me by this curb. She shouldn't have been on this side of the car at all. But cool, she's all right. Your car ain't damaged. She was about to drive off because her thing ain't damaged. Y'all got me fucked up. I don't know what you talking about. I know you probably thought because I was American that I was gonna be like these white motherfuckers. Bitch, fuck you. You good? You good? I'm out of here. And walked off. Baby, he came up from behind me and said, hey, I'm gonna call the police. I turned around. I said, do that. I want you to. Go ahead and do it. But I'm about to keep walking. Stop. No, I'm gonna keep walking and going by where I came. Get the fuck out of here. I'm not giving you no $1,000. I ain't giving you shit. Cause ain't nothing damaged. She ain't damaged. And she shouldn't have been on this side of the car. And I looked up the what you call it to see if that was a law in Thailand, see if it was different. It was not. So if you are by the curb, they're not supposed to be on the side of the curb with you. Now, if you somewhere that's not by the curb and you open the door, it's your responsibility. But because of where we were on the street, she's not supposed to be on that side of the car. So once I showed them that, nigga, get out of here. I'm not paying for shit. You got me fucked up. That car ain't damaged. I'm up out of here. You got me fucked up. And I keep walking and going about my business. But now I'm like, now you done ruined my mood because now I got to worry about if you calling the police on me and you doing like, I'm like, am I about to get locked up in Thailand for leaving the scene? Like, I'm like, damn, now I don't feel comfortable. And I'm not some inconspicuous motherfucker. I'm a tall American with curly red hair all over the place. And I'm fly. I'm looking good, got Louis Vuitton, and I'm fired. So I'm like, damn, it's not like I'm can blend. So if the motherfuckers trying to find me, they can find me. So, honey, I called me another ride and take my ass back to my hotel. And I woke up, I was in the middle at night. I was like, damn, is somebody gonna come knock on my door? Is somebody gonna please go come knock on my door? What's gonna happen? So that's what I was thinking about all yesterday, all today. Like, what if the police come tip on trying to get me in trouble for this fucking dumb shit? But I woke up, I went to sleep and I woke up and nobody has come and knocked on the door. But it pissed me off because I didn't get to go to the club because he ruined my whole fucking mood by thinking about what if I'm in the club and the police run into the club, and it was so late and tired. But I felt like he was trying to hustle me. And I was like, wrong, bitch. Baby, call the police. Go ahead, call them. and then y'all find me. And if I have to deal with it, I have to deal with it. But yeah. But that happened last night. So I didn't get to go to the gay club. But I went, and when I walked through the little street that I was on, it was nothing but the ladyboy hoes out there. It was wild. I'm like, how do y'all make? I want y'all to imagine a storefront. I want y'all to imagine. This is how, I don't know how it works. I don't know how they make money. But imagine a storefront. Think if you from New York, you would get this reference. Think Lenox Avenue. I think that's Harlem, right? Think Lenox Avenue with all them stores and shops. Y'all know what I'm talking about in New York? With all them stores and shops. It looks just like that. Like it with all them stores where you can shop walking down Lenox Avenue. But think of them having rows of chairs, like a cookout, but rows of chairs in front of the storefront, and every chair is a hoe sitting in it in the same clothes, like their uniform. And they're hoes, and they're just sitting waiting for somebody to drive up and pick one. Now I want you, that's how one storefront is. Like think about like 16 bitches sitting in like not lawn chairs. They call that a rickshaw here in India. Okay, yeah. I don't know what a rickshaw is. Let me see what that is. Rickshaw. Oh, you still talk about the tuk-tuk. Okay. No, I'm talking about the hoes. It's giving red light district on steroids. Absolutely. Absolutely. Like on steroids. But that'll be one storefront. But think about that happening 20 times down one street. Like every set of girls got different uniforms on. Some of them have on all white, some of them have all red, some of them have on all pink, some of them have all black. If you work for this whole house, this is where your uniform is. But then you got some that they have their own clothes, or they don't have a uniform. They're sitting in the same type of style, but they have different clothes on. But then you have some girls who don't have a storefront, and they just standing there just looking for clients because people are walking through, driving through, blah, 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 blah. I'm about to take a picture just so y'all can see. So my hotel, so this is how it looks outside of my hotel. All right, so y'all see this street right here. The opposite side, you can't see it because this is like a courtyard that covers it up. But when I walk out my street at night, my hotel at night, and go to there's, as you can see, this is a 7-Eleven right here. Right here. When I go to the 7-Eleven to get some snacks, on my street is just hoes standing, and this street is long as fuck. And there's some, it's just this street got a hair braider. This is so, and they just be standing there, and niggas just walking up to them, and it's just, it's wild. Like, and I don't know if that's all they can do. That would mean it's not a paradise. Like if all they can do is sex work, then that's kind of annoying. But it is so common. They're just, well, even when I go to the fancy malls and shit, they're just walking through, and it's like nothing. And this is not the wholesale area, but I'm just seeing them, and they're just walking around. They're just living. And it's like so that's why I said it's a paradise. It's a paradise because it's so normalized. Not saying that they just have big opportunity, but it's so normalized that it's like Wow. Where is mine? But yes, that's what I have experienced here. Amazing consignment shopping prices. Like if you're looking for authentic designer stuff, because there's a in Japan, there's a you can't sell dupes, like you can't sell fake shit in Japan. So in Asia, there are Japanese franchises of consignment. And so they have authenticated stuff. And you can buy it. It's not, and it's like 70% off of the prices that you would pay in America. So if it's something that's 10,000, you're gonna pay 2,500. And so on. So think about like 70% off. If it's a brand that's popular in America, but it might not be popular here, you could get it for even cheaper. So like if you like Saint Laurent ain't as expensive here. For it might not be as popular. So you can find it cheap. Chanel, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, they're kind of high. Of course, Hermes. Chanel was the highest stuff. But let me give you another example too. So like all of these bags was the most highest marked items. Yes, the boys solicit openly. They just solicit in a different area. But this is the lady boys run the city here, baby. The gaze is out. I've been seeing the gaze. The gaze is out. But this is my last day here. I fly out in the morning. I'm going back to Da Nang. And then I go home on the 13th. I fly home on the 13th. So I go back to Da Nang. I got some stuff made in Da Nang, because anybody who knows Da Nang is where you go, actually Hanoi, which is like a suburb of Da Nang, 30 minutes away, is where you go to get clothes made. How long was I where? I got so many clothes made, y'all. I can't wait to show y'all. But so cheap. And they make it exactly how you want. Whatever you want made. Like imagine that you can go to somewhere and get whatever you want made. And they adjust it to your body and make it. So I wanted a couple of basics. Like I wanted some basic pants, some basic how long have you? I got here on December the 16th. So it's been about a month. I wouldn't say haute couture, but I would say bespoke. You can make anything. Like if you want a jacket, like a very tailored jacket, yes. But if you want some high-end gown, like high-end level, no. But if you want a very nice gown, a basic gown, or a basic dress, they can make it. So stuff like, so like if you want a gown that looks like this is at the store. I'm gonna do a really specific video about it. So like coats, any kind of, and you can get the details how you want, the buttons how you want, like any details, custom of anything. So shoes, I got these shoes made. I wanted some black and white Oxfords, so I got these shoes made. Leather, fire. Um, what else? Um, I wanted a. Do you bring an empty luggage for your travels? I buy one here. I gotta get to Japan to see the geisha. Yeah, Japan was fire. Um, so I'm gonna do a whole thing about the clothes because that has to be separate. But anything made. I've been here. Um, I went to Tokyo first, Hanoi second, Siem Reap, Cambodia third, then Da Nang, and then I wasn't supposed to come to Bangkok where I'm at now, but my homegirl had to leave on the 7th. And so I was like, why don't I just go to Bangkok real quick when she leaves, just as while I'm here? Because once you get here, the flights to other places is super cheap. Like $100, $70, $60, depending on when you buy it. It's super cheap. And so I said, while I'm out here now, I got enough time. Let me go ahead and go for a couple of days to Bangkok because I've never been to Bangkok. So I flew to Bangkok, and then I come back to Da Nang, and I'm gonna stay till the 13th, 11, 12, 13. So just and I'm going back to Da Nang because the stuff that I got made, I need to go try on, and then they make the adjustments, and they usually make the adjustments within the day. Um, but yeah, it is fire. Um, I'm also, while I'm in Da Nang, I'm looking at apartments because I love Da Nang. It was fire. There were apartments for, you can get a luxury apartment for like $400, fully serviced, fully furnished, and a housekeeper for $400. So I'm going to look. My lease is up soon, so I'm playing with the idea. I had a geisha picture. Oh yeah, I did. I did have a geisha picture. I had a friend who stayed in Thailand off of $2,000, and she stayed in a fabulous high rise, and that was in 2010. Yeah, the cost of living here is crazy. Not a hummingbird cake recipe, yes. Have you seen other black folks there? Yes. It's good in Thailand. Cost everywhere. The cost of living is low. You can find. The problem is, do you have remote income? That's the problem. If you have remote income, there should be. You should move. Now, if you don't, that's the problem. It's like, where you gonna work if you can't speak the language? You can be an English teacher, but that's hard to get in because everybody want to be English teacher. That's an expat. Um, but if you got a remote job, you should not be living in America. I'm sorry. If you got a remote job, you can live like a queen or king with or whatever the non-binary royalty is. You can. I'm gonna show you a video. And I literally came to all these places to see. I literally came to all of these places so that I could see the conversation people been having. Who was asked to pay $300 to get in the club and her friends left her, has me thinking about two things that have been completely left out of this conversation and the reaction. I'll read that later. To her. If you want to get creative angles for your content. Where is my messages? Okay, here. All right. Y'all paying attention? She's gonna go through the different price ranges and types of apartments in Da Nang. So she's gonna go through the cheapest one, where you get the bare minimum, to the highest one. All right, so I'm gonna play it for you. Cause she moved to Da Nang. She on TikTok.
Okay, let's talk about the cost of housing in Da Nang, Vietnam. Mind you, there are some properties that are even cheaper than what I'm showing you. Not that much cheaper, but cheaper, and then way more expensive than the most expensive one that I'm showing you. All right, so if you're coming out here and you just need a place to sleep, shower, eat, $152 a month, this is good for you to come in here, save a bunch of money, get acclimated, start hustling and creating your own businesses, and start getting your money up because you don't have much bills to pay with this particular apartment. This is a great starter apartment. Or if you just want to like be outside all the time and not even be in your apartment all the time, this is a perfect apartment not to even waste money on. Like, you just have a lot of free money. This one is a little bit more expensive. You got the marbling on the wall, you got your little balcony, your washer, kitchen area, great little starter spot. This one is $475. This one, I've been in this one personally. This is it's like walking distance from the actual beach. About a 5 or 10 minute walk to the beach.
Da Nang.
So this is great if you want to be a little bourgeois on a budget. $608 a month. A little bougie on a budget, but it's very nice. It's beautiful. Take a look at it.
608 US dollars.
Again, for my bougie people on a budget that want those really nice upscale apartments, like back home for
There is no application. You
$37 a month. balcony view.
They don't have a concept of credit. They don't have anything that you give them the money, you move in. $837 fire.
Okay, now let's get into the houses. This is what you're gonna get for $14.45. Just take a look at it. If you have a nice size family, you want multiple bedrooms, 3, 4, 5 bedrooms. These houses are going to be for you, and they range in price. Not even, they can be cheaper or more expensive than this.
And they don't give a fuck about you being trans at all.
Now, if you want to come
because most of them are
on a
Buddhists.
budget, you can rent villas. This is a villa for $2,092. Just check it out. And again, another nice villa if you just want to come ball out. Again, there are properties way more expensive than this, bigger than this, nicer than this. Just know that it's something in your budget for everyone out here.
I saw a white refrigerator at the villa, but I don't give a fuck about that. I don't care if it's white or not. Does it get cold? Is it big enough for my shit? It can be green, brown, like the 70s. With this amount of rent, this cheap rent, they got pools and shit in your house, private
The
pools.
websites I use to find these houses I found through Google, but if you don't find them in the prices that you want, you can definitely get the ebook. I have a 250 plus page ebook about moving to Vietnam, and it's still growing. Right now it's on sale because the book is not finished. Yes, we are at 250 pages and we're still not finished. But this is how you get to the page. You go to the link in my bio. You look at the table of contents so you can know what you're buying before you get the book. The price is going to go up to $100 once I'm finished the book because, like I said, it's 250 pages and it's still growing. I still have so much information to put.
Yes. So I'm going home and I have some thinking to do. So I haven't decided. I haven't fully committed yet. But out of all the places I've been, Da Nang is my favorite. If you've been to Waikiki, like in Hawaii, Waikiki, that's what it reminds you of because it's a beach town. Cambodia, it's super cheap. Cambodia is cheap. You can get luxury like that for 200, 250 in Cambodia. But Cambodia is a touristy town and it is a rural place. So it's really small and rural. This was my trying out. This month was my trying out to see if I can fuck with any of these places. And out of all the places, Da Nang is the one. Do I want to leave Texas? No. But I can make my money stretch. I don't like the state of transness in the United States. I don't like that the FBI is making making lists about trans people being terrorists just for being trans, about spreading gender ideology. I feel like it's going to get worse before it gets better, and I want to be gone before it gets worse. Idealistically, do I want to? No, I love Texas. Texas has been my home for almost next year. 2027 will be 20 years. I love Texas. I love the community, but I think we are. This is not me exaggerating. This is not me being over paranoid. But I told y'all a long time ago to watch that movie, that documentary on Netflix called El Dorado, about the queer Berlin before Nazi Germany start doing what they were doing. It was a queer mecca. They were in advancement. Trans women were walking around with legally recognized identification saying, this is a trans person, they're going through their transition, leave them alone, don't arrest them. They, like, literally they were advancing. And because of Nazi, everything totally switched. They started sending them to gas chambers. They started locking them up for no reason. Yes, it's called El Dorado. That's the name of the club that was in Berlin, Germany. It is on Netflix. And so either I did a review on it or I talked about it. So I think that we are in that time. And anytime you talk to, most of them is dead now. But anytime, any interviews you see of Nazi survivors or Holocaust survivors interview, they will say, I wish that we had left before it got bad, but we just didn't think it was going to get bad, even though we had the signs, but we didn't know that these were the signs. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be the person saying, ooh, I wish I knew what I knew, just because I'm ignoring the signs. Does it make sense? And so, and people were like, well, why don't you move to California? Why don't you move to New York? Because the cost of living there is too fucking high. The cost of living in New York and California, while it's blue states, is too fucking high. Now, New Mexico, that doesn't have a super high cost of living, and they're a blue state too. But if I'm a bitch that don't like to move. If I'm going to move, why don't I just go and experience the world? And if it don't work out, I can move with my brother in Ohio. But at least I can go try and see. You see what I'm saying? That's my mindset about it. It's like, where's your money going to stretch? So in Vietnam, you have to leave you get a 90-day visa. And then you have to leave and come back. You have to leave the country. So like you can go to Thailand for an hour and come back. Let me show you. You just got to cross the border, apply for another visa. They're super easy, and come back. Look.
Baby, come with me to Cambodia so I don't get kicked out of Vietnam. Today's mission, a visa run. A visa run is when you leave the country to get an exit stamp and then immediately re-enter the country. I left Ho Chi Minh at 6:15, crossing Cambodia by 8:30, did my e-visa for $35, waited, walked back through the border, and was back in the city by 3:30 p.m. Same day, no stress. Total cost, $140 USD. I use Stella Visa. This is my second time with them. and they're a homie visa partner. So if you want a referral, comment visa and I'll send it to you. Some people turn visa runs into full-on trips, but this time I was on a crunch, so quick and efficient was the move. Follow me for more real-life Vietnam.
So yeah, you can turn into a trip. You can just go to Bangkok for a weekend. You just need to cross the border, go out, get your new visa for the next 90 days, and come back. And you have to do that every 90 days. Super, super easy. There are very knowledgeable trans healthcare clinics in Bangkok. When I was there for a training, all the international girls were there to stock up on hormones and get care before going back home. Yeah. I'm an old trans woman. Trans healthcare isn't at the top of my priority list. I've been trans for a long time. All I need is regular healthcare. I don't need trans specific healthcare because I know how to get my shit, get what I need. And so it doesn't I think that's more important for people who are just starting out, but bitch, I'm 82 years old. And my transition is 72. So I don't really trans healthcare don't really that's not the priority. Priority to me is how far I can stretch my coin, how comfortable am I going to be in the apartment. I can't be in no studio. I need some space, so I can't be in a super super small space. How can I be in an apartment that is that has amenities that I like, for a amount of money that is, that I can make stretch, that's within my budget. And is there some niggas, I'm like, I want to be where the niggas is at. I know in an Asian country it's not going to be the majority, but where is it some? Do I see any? And I saw a bunch of black people in Da Nang. I didn't see a lot of black people in Cambodia. Um, couple, but not a lot. Tons of black people here in Bangkok. Tons. It's tons of expats, tons of Americans, tons of everybody, tons of Russians, tons of Europeans. There's tons of motherfuckers in Bangkok. This is a city. So Tokyo and Bangkok are New York in a different font when it comes to types of city. Like it is just a big ass city. You like Asian men? No. But if I meet somebody amazing, I'll explore, but not in general. Yeah. But I'm also, that's another thing. I'm old. I ain't worried about no niggas. I ain't making decisions about niggas in regards to romantic stuff. I want black people because I want the culture. I want to, like, if you ain't got no braiding store and a braid shop, African hair braiding shop, this ain't the place for me. Bangkok got one. Da Nang got one. Do you see what I'm saying? You got to have enough black people to where there's some things that I had that I need there. Cambodia didn't have no kind of black hair care. They didn't even have conditioner. Like all their fucking in their hotels, they don't have conditioner. They just have shampoo. No, our hair is prone to dryness, so we need conditioners. My business is online. So I'm gonna do what I normally do. I'm gonna talk about trans shit. I'm gonna talk about put an episode out. I'm gonna still talk about issues going on in America because I'm an American and I'm gonna be paying attention to stuff like that. But I'm going to be doing it in a I'm going to be exploring my options. Of course, me being in another country, I'm going to run into people that I think that are interesting. And if they speak English, baby, we're going to be talking to them. It's just kind of just going global. Kind of. It's yeah. They have braiding shop. That's impressive. Yeah, Bangkok got a bunch of them. It's one down the street. But it's a lot of Africans and black people here, like African black and American black. It's a bunch. This is like multicultural. This is like New York in a South Asian font. That's it. Streetwise, culture wise, malls. It is a city, man. Let me show y'all again for the people who wasn't here. It is a city. Let me see what is it showing. Is it showing everything? I can't see it. Yeah, this is a city, baby. City. Yeah, it is a city. It is not it's not now the other places, yes, you're getting like Cambodia was a rule. Cambodia remind me of fucking trying to think of a town that it reminds you of. Cambodia reminded me of San Antonio. Not even that. Maybe El Paso. Tulum. If you ever been to Tulum, Mexico, that's exactly what Cambodia give. Tulum, Mexico. Tulum, just a small rural ass town that got nothing but tourism. That's how they make their money. So everything is revolved around tourism. Cambodia was just too rural, too no. I couldn't. The cost of living is beautiful, but that's the cheapest cost of living. Another thing with out here, food, the cost of food is so low. Just to eat out, you're spending like $2, $3, $5 for full meals. Like full meals. The quality of food, freshness is better. Yeah, just the food. The food alone, the cost of living with the food is low. Low as shit, man. Like y'all don't understand. You can eat out and eat healthy for $3 to $5 a day. If that. And they give you a lot of food. Like I rarely have just finished a plate here. They give you a lot of food for cheap and it's fresh. They're growing the shit in on the facility, especially if it's like vegetables and shit. You can see the garden in the back of the shop. I'm talking about not like hotel food, but like going to the restaurant, like walking up the street and going to mom and pop shit. That shit is so cheap. $1, $2, $3. I don't think I spent more than $5 or $6 on any meal from like the mom and pop shops. So you caught just, and these are like nice restaurants. So even if you want to eat out all the time, you still gonna be loved. But then when you go to the grocery store, I went to this grocery store thinking that I was about to spend, $20, $30. Baby, she said, let me see how much. I didn't have enough shit in my basket, y'all. To how they got a limit of amount of you got to spend on a credit card. Their limit was $2,200 of their money, which is $6.36 in our money. So the limit is $200 in money. So I had my basket full of shit, y'all, and I thought that I was over the limit, and I still was not over the limit. And we're talking about $6. Like I was holding up the line because I had to go get other stuff. Because I thought I had a whole basket of shit, and it still wasn't $6. Grapes, drinks. Yeah, it was crazy. I was like, this could never happen in America. Fresh produce, yes, it was fire. So if you want to cook, if you want to, it's whatever. That's gonna be for my particular pockets. That's gonna be what's drastic because I spend a lot of money on food and eating out. Even when I cook, grocery bills, high shit. Um, yeah, yeah. That's this is where I'm. This is where my mindset is right now. Just like, oh my god, like you could stretch your money so far, and you ain't got no kids. You ain't got no kids. You ain't got nothing locking you down. Nothing you got. This is so I'm telling you all the positive. The negative. The negative is I really love black people and black culture, and so I don't know if it's going to be a depressive culture shock for me to be so far from it. I don't know if that's gonna. I love my people, so I just so it's not. I love my people enough that I need them. So it's not like I know some people be like, "Oh, I don't care. Oh, that ain't me." That's some coons who don't care about black people. I care about my people. I care about black people. I love black people. I love being around them. I love the comedy. I love the culture. I love it. And I would be depressed to be in a city that has none of that. So that I don't know, and you can't know how that's gonna affect you until you're in it. Do you see what I'm saying? Like you can say, "Oh, you can find community here." Da, 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 da." You don't know until you're actually in the situation how that's gonna affect you. Um, and particularly black queer community, not just black, but black too, but black queer specifically. So I love going to balls. I love going to pageant, not balls. I love that balls exist that I can go to if I want to. I love going to pageants. I love going to the gay club. I love going to queer specific events, black queer specific events. That's a part of my self care. That's a part of who I am as a person. And I love it. I love the culture of black queer people. And not having that, even if I'm saving money, I don't know if I'm gonna feel depressed about it or if I'm gonna be happy. I don't know. Like I said, I did see some black people in the places that I would choose, like Da Nang, Bangkok. I went on a date yesterday with a black boy from America. He's from America. He's from Florida, but he was over here. This was his first out of the country trip, and so we went on a date and we had a good ass fucking time. Um, So I know I can find some black people here and where I would choose to stay. Um, I didn't love Tokyo. There were some black people there, but I didn't love it. It was they too stuffy in the east side of Asia. Southwest side of Asia, that honey, the Thailand, Vietnam, those my kind of Asians, child. What you doing the snowbird thing? What about doing the snowbird thing? What is the snowbird thing? I don't know what that is. Yeah, I don't really think I could ever fully leave America. I would have massive FOMO. Yeah, I think I could. I wouldn't say that I couldn't. I think I could, but there would have to be something that I would need to do to figure out. Um, and I mean, you're saving so much money, you could fly back sometimes. And then everybody's like, "Oh, we would come visit. We would come visit." Maybe they might come visit. Um, but really, other than that, I can't think of no other negative. Um, let me see. Yeah, that part of it. Uh, um, yeah, living there in the winter months. There's not really any winter months in these areas other than rainy. Like it doesn't really get like super cold like that. It'll get rainy. Now in Tokyo, yeah, it'll be cold. It's cold there. Yeah, I don't know. I don't. Yeah, I don't. That's the sad part that I don't know how I feel about that. That's the bad part. But other than that, the money will be fire. The food is fire. Um, yeah. I went to the queer club in Da Nang and I met trans people. So I called my brother. I called my brother when I was in when I first got here because I had got emotional and I was telling him that my desire and my fear are like having a battle. My desire wants to move, but my fear is like, bitch, what? So I was getting emotional. When I get that kind of emotional, I always call my brother. And so we talked through it and we just brainstormed and talked about everything. And I'm really just overthinking. Just overthinking and just thinking about like, bitch, you came to Houston with $57 in your pocket with nothing and nobody. And you made a world of it. You made it. Like you made it do what it do, baby. You would do that somewhere else just because it's in you. It's in you to survive. But I'm also older now. I'm also I don't know. I just was wary. Bookmarking the Eldorado film. Just curious if it's extremely heavy viewing. Yeah, it's about the Nazis. I mean, it's about the Nazis desecrating the queer community in Berlin. Yes, it's heavy. Yeah, that's a I was like, you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. I am spiritual. I'm not. I y'all. Even if you have faith, even like I say, you're a Christian, just in the Christian context. Even Jesus was like, "Yo, why have thou forsaken me?" just because you willing to do what you do don't mean that in the process of you doing it, you don't question it. Sometimes you just have them. It's not that I'm just overthinking. You overthink, you over analyze, and then you make the plunge and you figure it out. That's where I'm at. I'm deciding to just thinking about it. That's what it is. I'm just overthinking about it. But I am spiritual. I know my ancestors got me absolutely. Um, I know I'll figure it out. I'll make it work. That's what that's what I do. It's just and yeah, I want to live very free. And the beautiful thing about living in Asia is, other than Cambodia, I have not been in any place where I felt unsafe. Yes, gold. I know what y'all I know what you're doing. Thank you, and I appreciate that. Um, I never felt unsafe. I felt unsafe in um Cambodia, not unsafe. It, it just was, it was ripe for the hustling. Just because of the poverty that was around, you can tell that, what increases crime is socioeconomic stuff, and that's anywhere. And so, if the poverty is really, really deep, the crime is right around the corner. So, you can tell in Cambodia that the poverty is really, really like right by you. So, honey, if they get a chance to steal your cars, they're stealing it. If they get a chance to get you, they're getting you. You can see it, you can feel it, you can see it in the hustle, you can see it in what's going on. So, but yeah, I did never, ever feel unsafe in Tokyo. In Da Nang, never felt unsafe. Um, Bangkok, I can tell it gets a little spicy, but spicy in the hustle you could you an American way. Even before last night. Yeah. But yeah, Da Nang gives me, I'm a Pisces. I need to be buy some water. uh, I need to be by some water. So my ancestors like me to be by some water. Um, so Da Nang is top on the list. Top on the list. And if I'm being honest with y'all, I'm tired of I'm tired of arguing with motherfuckers about transness. Make sure you thumbs up if you're just coming in. I, I'm tired of arguing with motherfuckers about trans shit. It goes back to what I said at the beginning of this. When I was talking about the African shit. We did all this work that we've done. I've been technically an activist since I was 17. All this work that we've done to move you motherfuckers more forward in education about transness specifically. Transness, and we haven't even cracked y'all a code. We did. We've seen some advancement, but now it feels like it's a rearing back. I'm like, if the blackness didn't teach us anything, is that this is gonna keep going. Like we got out of slavery in 1865. And I'm not talking about just slavery since like just slavery, but culturally, like to get respect as black people. I remember when Phyllis Whitley, y'all know who Phyllis Whitley is? Phyllis Whitley is the black poet, black slave poet, former slave poet that was taught to read and write by one of her white, I don't know if she was a white slave owner or a white teacher. I don't know. I can't remember exactly Phyllis's story. I ain't looked into it in a long time. But Phyllis Whitley, she wrote a poem. And the white people didn't believe that she wrote it because she was black. And they were like, they literally, she had to, I don't know if it wasn't court, was it court or somewhere? Like she had to prove that she wrote the poem that she wrote. Like this is the early known writers, Phyllis Whitley. And she had to prove they thought so little of black people because it was illegal to teach us to read and write and shit like that. And they thought so little of us that they thought that she did not write her poetry. And so she had to prove that she wrote it by writing something else. Crazy. But I'm thinking about that, how long ago that was. And now how we're still fighting educational stereotypes, how it's not that we didn't advance, y'all. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that some of the same conversations that our black scholars are, or our regular black people, some of the same conversations that they we're having today. And so there's a willful ignorance that is there where you just don't want to believe that what you're talking about isn't true. You don't want to believe that if we're talking about feminism, that women deserve the rights that they have. If we're talking about blackness, that black people deserve the rights that that they should be equal and deserve the rights. And that's what anything, queerness, transness, it's like, I get it. And it was fun in my 20s, teens, 20s, 30s, 40s. I'm in my early 40s. But now it's getting to the point where, okay, bitch, it's time to pass the torch, girl. Let the young kiddies do their job, do the activist shit. What now? What? It's like, it's like, girl, pass the torch, and what's next? What's next? And so I'm tired of having, and what's making it really annoying, not just the battle, like the political battle, but it's some trans people that are getting on my fucking nerves. Oh God. I can't express it enough. There are some trans people that are reverting back to the 90s in a way that is so annoying in their talking points. And I'm tired of arguing with trans people. It's not cute. Going back to you speaking like, ooh, I want to go back to a time. I want to go back to a time I recently, and this is no shade, y'all, so don't be messy. But I recently saw a video where Sexy Lexi interviewed, what's her name? Lene Bendavis? Is it Lene? No, it's not. It's not like that. It's not Book of Queers. Um, that was written by a very up tempo white gay male who I love. Um, um, it's not that. Tanae, yeah, Tanae. And so Tanae, one of the clips that I saw, I haven't watched it fully, but one of the clips, Tanae was saying, "Oh, back in the day, the girl just wanted to pass. You don't want to get clocked in order to avoid getting knocked." And there's a romanticizing of that era that feels weird right now. You shouldn't have been if you get you shouldn't have been getting knocked if you got clocked. That is the culture that we're trying to change. Just because you didn't pass, you shouldn't have been getting knocked. And so romanticizing the idea that, oh, the girls in my day wanted to pass and just blend. That wasn't because that was for safety. And you shouldn't have to hide and pass just to be safe. And so romanticizing that era is fucking weird. That's fucking weird. It's not I'm not saying that that's what they were doing. I understand you just sharing your experience. But I'm seeing it a lot nowadays where girls from and I'm from that era. So I'm not saying it like I don't know what I'm talking about, but romanticizing that era would be like when the black old people say, back in my day, black people used to dress up to go to the airport and they wanted to look nice and they wasn't running around in sweat track suits to go to the airport. Now we're not talking about sagging. We're talking about people complaining about people wearing comfortable clothes to the airport. Back in my day, people dressed up going to the airport. Black people loved to present themselves with a respectable image. I miss those days. Okay. And what did that get you? They still was hosing y'all motherfuckers down. They still was sicking the dogs on you. You motherfuckers wearing slacks and blazers, and they was sicking the dogs on you and spraying you with hoses. So what did that get you? So yeah, you were passing, but what did it get you? You were passing, you were trying to blend, but you were trying to blend cool. That's cute. You were lucky to be a Dominican girl with light skin and curly hair and natural pretty looks. And so you were benefiting from that blending. But what about the girl who didn't have all of those colorism benefits? That wasn't passing. That was a little bit more hard. That didn't have the health care and access to the FFS and the things and the hormones and the da 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 da. What about the girls who didn't that? Should they be getting knocked? I'm not saying that they're saying that they should be, but what I'm saying is that that wasn't a good time for us. When we were forced to blend, that wasn't a good time for us. So stop making it seem like it was a good time. Bitches was getting fired from jobs soon as their tea got clocked. Soon as some Tracy Africa, soon as a fucking butch queen get mad at her, telling her tea, and she's fired. That wasn't a good time. Stop romanticizing that shit. It wasn't a good time. Oh, the trade used to be the trade, and the trade used to be the trade used to be DL and kicking y'all ass. Were they more hood and gangster? Did they perform masculinity all cute? Yes, but they wasn't falling in love with you. They were using you and being the same shit they doing now, except they even more not open. The trade wasn't sickening. Stop romanticizing that era. The trade wasn't sickening. They were more masculine. And y'all being just like the Butch Queens. Oh, I want them to be more. I want the DL boys. I want the straight boys that get down. They're faggots too. They just closet faggots. This is closet faggots. That's it. That know how to perform being a boy better than you. And you're fetishizing them, making it seem like they sickening. They not sickening. That was not a good time. That was not a good time. And romanticizing it, make it seem like it was a good time. I'm not falling for it. That's conservative ass shit. That's trans version of Make America Great Again, bitch. That wasn't a good time. And be fucking for real. So when I say that these bitches is moving to the right, that's what I mean. I don't mean they turning MAGA. I mean they're moving to the right by doing what the right wing people are doing, romanticizing a time when their privilege was benefiting them, but not other people. So the passable girls is like, ooh, during my day, we wanted to blend and just be fashion, da da da. When you were privileged, now you see the clacky girls demanding shit. Back in my day, bitch, fuck out of here. It wasn't great. It wasn't good. You're romanticizing a time that the conditions were harsh. They were exploiting you. And because you were privileged enough to blend, you saw it as good. Just like the white people. When I was privileged enough to not be affected by this bullshit and not be called out for my racism, they want to go back to when America was great for them. When I didn't have to be held accountable for racism. You want to go back to a time when you could be better than the bricky girls and not get access to privileges. When you were the girl that got all the love and the attention because you were pretty and passable. You want to go back to that time. You want to romanticize that time. You want to tell the girls, you got to put more effort in because you want to continue to benefit from the effort that you put in. You don't want the girls who just live in life to get the same privileges as you. Because you put so much effort, you want to be rewarded for that effort. Well, that's my thoughts. And I just, and so I'm tired of arguing about dumb shit and people not seeing themselves move to the right. Is trans pick me energy for cis approval? Absolutely it is. Absolutely. And you're not seeing it, and I'm tired of arguing about that shit. Fuck you. You weird. You weird to me. For romantic, you're not weird. You weird for romanticizing that era like white people do. Oh, or like men do. I remember when men used to be men and women used to be women. They would cook and clean. That was not good for women. Being house slaves. That was not good for them. That's why they fought against it. To have bank accounts, to be able to divorce, to leave abusive marriages. It wasn't good for them. It was good for you. That's why you miss those back in the day. Because they were forced to stay with y'all stupid ass. Stop romanticizing the 50s and the 60s. Our grandmothers used to cook dinners on Sundays every day. A home-cooked meal for the man. And when that nigga died, she didn't get remarried. She used that pension. You see the old women, they don't fucking want to be married again. They took that house and living in peace without a fucking man to carry after. No. That is crazy. That wasn't a good time. Bitches was getting their ass beat in their houses and nobody knew about it. And they couldn't leave. Police would tell them, come with being a woman. They mamas would tell them that shit. Getting raped by your husband. And wasn't no legal recourse for you to do anything. You couldn't leave because he coverage laws made him have all the control over the money. So you stuck. Stupid. You getting cancer. Y'all remember I talked about this on Chasing Threads. You getting cancer or knew it and didn't care, right? You getting cancer and your husband, the doctor tell your husband that you got cancer. And because he want to win a political race through you, he don't tell you that you got cancer. And you don't find out until you stage 4 and have to die. All because the law said that the doctor didn't have to tell you, that he could tell your husband. Stop romanticizing that shit. That was not a good time for us. For women. Yeah. So yes. That's what I'm tired of that. I'm tired of what does a soft life look like for Diamond Stylz? What does a soft life? That doesn't mean that I'm not going to care about politics or care about stuff, cuz that's just in me. But what does it look like for the rest of my life? Y'all know I turn 45 next month. I turn 45. That's 5 years from 50, y'all. What does the rest of my life do? I'm halfway done, girl. I'm halfway done. Even if I live to 100, I'm almost halfway there. So what have I done? What am I going to do to adjust to where I have a life of leisure, a life of less stress? And I have adjusted that. My whole youth was taking care of my mama's responsibility. Worrying about my brothers and my brother, and my brothers when they both were in my mom's house. I didn't really get a chance to be a kid and be free. Like when people with responsible parents, quote unquote, they spend their teens and their 20s really out here exploring the world. In these travels, I have been seeing young people in their 20s just living. Just living. I was like, I didn't get to do that in my 20s. Now, in my 30s, I was establishing stuff. Now, in my this 5 years, this 40s, let's say 35 to 45. This past 10 years, I really, other than that fucking COVID stupid shit, I really have been focused on really living and traveling and seeing shit and experience the world. I've really been focused on that because I didn't get to do that shit when I was in my 20s. And so what does that look like, getting deeper into that bag and really, you know, just just exploring. Hi Bree. How are you? I miss you too. Yeah, what does that look like, getting deeper into that bag where, you know, where your identity is not at the center of your life, but your joy is. Your identity is just you being, but your joy and your interest and exploration is at the center of your life. I feel like the past 20 years, my 30, yeah, has been my identity has been at the center of my life. What does it look like to decenter that? What does that look like? Partially voluntarily and partially involuntarily. It's like sex work. It's like you grow up and you become a woman and you learn that, oh, these niggas just want to fuck you. I guess it's there are some men who just want to fuck you. Do I have Cash App? I don't use Cash App. I use Venmo. Um, um, they just want to fuck you. And so once you learn that, like your dream, you have this dream, like, oh, you're gonna fall in love with a boy and y'all gonna be together and all the stuff that the romance stuff that the movies sell you about love. So you think you're gonna grow and you're gonna meet somebody and it's gonna be that. And then you realize, oh, that dream isn't even likely for a cis woman, but you as a trans woman, that dream is way even more less likely. So there's a rebellious stage you go through where, well, shit, especially when you get to adulthood and you gotta survive. So it's like, well, shit, I'm gonna use this exploitation to my advantage. The novelty of my trans is now I'm gonna put for sale. So if you ain't got no money, you ain't about to use me. And that works for a little bit. That works in your 20s, works in your 30s. But then what happens when you grow to a point where you don't need money? It's not survival no more. Then what? And so that exploitation doesn't feel as that playing these niggas doesn't feel as useful as it did in your youth. Does it make sense? It doesn't feel as useful. It's like, oh, I don't really need no money like that now, but you're still not gonna you're not gonna use me. That don't mean I'm gonna be back free. No. So you're in a situation where I'm not even dealing with these niggas. I'll go on dates, of course, but not even dealing with these niggas. So how do you learn? So now you're decentering them. So what does your life look like when you're decentering the romantic potential of a man? What does that look like? And that's how I feel about, similar to transness as an identity. You grow up, it's affecting your life. When I hit 20s, my transness started to be a thing that I could teach people about. Like, oh, I could teach people about this on a bigger scale, not just people around you, but like, oh, I can teach people about this. YouTube introduced me to that. Oh, people want to learn about this. Cool. And so then it becomes an opportunity. I was like, oh, well, I am a special thing. I'm a Black trans woman with a particular experience that I can teach people about. And so it becomes your thing, your gig. And then as you get older, okay, now what? Does it still feel fulfilling as it did when you first were starting? At one point it did, but then this shit is happening now. These motherfuckers ain't listening. These motherfuckers ain't listening. It's getting worse. It felt like it was getting better for a little bit, but now it's getting worse. You motherfuckers, it feel like everything you have done to teach and it's not just you. You are part of a collective, not just me. I don't think I'm a part of a collective, adding to the bucket of education. Me, T.S. Madison, um, Janet Mock, Laverne, all the people, the trans men, Teak Milan, all the people, all the trans people we know by name, Hope Giselle. Um, I'm saying her name just to be nice. Because I think recently she did something about the gays talking negative about Jasmine Crockett, and I think she ate that. You ate that one little thing, bitch. You ate that one little thing. um, but yeah, I think we all are educationally adding to the bucket, and it's like we've been doing this for so long. It's like y'all ain't even listening. And Miss Majors was even before she died, just before, I was like, this bitch running around in a motor scooter with assistants pushing her and pulling her and dealing with her. She old, having strokes and shit, and still out here doing talkings about this shit, bitch. And she's 80. The fuck? Do I want to be that? No. That felt so late. When we went to visit her at House of Gigi, I was like, do I want this? No. I want to be old and chilling. I want to be cooking for the young people. I want to have a garden. I want the people come over my house and I tell you stories. Yes. But I don't want it to be my livelihood. I want the young people to say, "Oh, I want the young people to say, "Oh, I know this trans woman from back in the day who lived up the street. She got amazing stories. But she make the best pound cake. But she make the best greens. But she make the best. Oh, she cook for us. Yeah, I don't want it to be my livelihood. I don't know. I'm just talking. But that's my thoughts. Yeah. All right. I'm getting up out of here in 10 minutes. That'll be 4 hours. Because I want to hit these Bangkok streets. Yeah. I have seen the shit about the white lady getting shot and killed by ICE. I have seen that. That was wild. Um, I'll talk about that when I get back. What else have I seen? What else been going on? Um, I have seen. I'm gonna do a video about the gays, the boys, the Tyler Perrys, the Donnie McClurklins, the what BB, not BB Winers, Donnie McClurklin, you know, Will Smiths and things. I'm going to do. I want to when I get home. I want to do a talk about that. Um, yeah. So I do want to talk about that stuff. I want to visit Olive Basil for real. You should do it. Do it. Don't stay stuck. Don't stay stuck where you at. Do it. And this is the best place to do it because it doesn't cost a lot. A lot. The most that you spend on the trip is getting here, but you can find a cheap. It's not going to be luxury, but you can find a cheap place to stay if you just want to get here and just be out and exploring. Food is going to be cheap. So I went to Ireland for $1,200, y'all. My whole 7-day trip for my birthday last year in Ireland was $1,200 in total. Like my hotel, my flight there, my fun. I went on a tour to North Ireland. I did all kinds of fun stuff that what I consider fun. Um, all for $1,200. The only one I doubt is Will Smith. The story didn't make sense to me. Everybody else. If you just want to hear my quick hot takes, I'll go deeper into leather. I don't believe the Will one. I believe the first Tyler Perry one. I don't believe the second Tyler Perry one. Donnie McClurky one, I definitely believe. But I believe it in the sense of y'all will have these tricks. Y'all got these old closeted man tricks. And what happens is when they stop doing when they want to, because these niggas is getting old. These ones that's charging these people, they getting old. And niggas, when they get older, whether they straight or gay, they replace you with young niggas. I think they're replacing these people and then they come out and sue them. Because the Donnie McClurky situation, you went back to work with him. I'm talking about closet in the sense of if you're saying I'm not gay and I'm working on it, you still in the closet. You saying I'm not practicing. So you're out the closet in the sense of telling people that you have homosexual desires, but you're not out the closet in the sense of saying you're still practicing homosexuality. Yeah. You see the difference? So you still lying about you being in the life. You still in the life. So they were laid off. Yes, I think so. But he said he went back and worked for him as his assistant after it. When you get to doing shit like that, it makes me feel like you on some Cassie shit. And I'm not saying that you're right or that you're wrong. I'm not saying that you do what you need to do. Because remember what I told y'all about out in DL men. You try to play me, I'm gonna try to get you. So I don't think that that's wrong. But do you see what I'm saying? Like Cassie is a very different type of victim. I didn't say she wasn't a victim, but there's a very different type of victim that Cassie is compared to who else? I don't know. Somebody where it feels like it was more forced and not. This was an opportunity that I play with, and it expired. This was a toxic opportunity that I played with, and it expired, as opposed to like a Drew Dixon. There's a difference between Drew Dixon and Cassie situation. Not saying that both of them are victims, but I think that there's a difference between agency of both of those victims. There's some agency that Cassie has in her scenario where she is accepting some of that doesn't mean he should be able to kick her ass, but there is some acceptance of the scenario that she chose to be in. Doesn't mean it wasn't toxic, doesn't mean that it wasn't harmful, doesn't mean that it wasn't all that she wasn't a victim, but there's a certain level of agency that she has, as opposed to somebody like Drew Dixon, who was held down and assaulted by a Russell Simmons. She wasn't in a relationship with him. She wasn't in a, you know what I'm saying? She wasn't in a situation with him like that. There's two different things. There's a complicit, yes, there's a complicit nature of one, and I want to be very clear. That doesn't mean that they're not victims just because there's a complicity and agency within that. I know men and some people like to dismiss their victimhood if they have any agency around it. Well, you could have left. And go where? I don't mean I didn't get abused. I don't mean I didn't get abused and shouldn't have got abused. Yeah. What else? Yeah, and I think of it like that too. There's one that is a rape, and then there's one that is a, abuse. These are two different things. Victim of two different things. So yes, and I think that there are some people, particularly in the Donnie McClurkin scenario, there's some people who chose Ghislaine. Yes, that's true. Yes. There's some people who chose to be in these scenarios, and there's some people who did not. And there's some people, since we brought up R. Kelly, who are too much of minors to be able to consent to this scenario, even if they chose to be in it for whatever reason. They're minors. You're the adult. You have the responsibility to not be playing games like that. Are there some adults who voluntarily be in a situation with R. Kelly? Absolutely. And they talked about that. But there are some people who are children, who are minors, who did not choose to be in the scenario because they don't have that capacity. You're a grown-ass man. So yeah, there's a bunch of nuances to the situation. Yeah. That is what my initial thoughts. But all right, y'all, make sure y'all thumbs up. And like I said, I will be home on the 13th. Well, I get on a plane on the 13th, but I think I'll be home on the 14th. Yeah, so I'll be back doing a live on the 16th. Yay! I'll be back home doing a live. Guilt by continued association like pimps. But make sure you thumbs up, and I will see y'all next Friday. Love y'all. Thanks for listening and letting me vent my thoughts. All right. Mwah.